Peace, everyone. It's BlackHighPriestess. I wanted to continue destiny swapping because I really wanted to mention the kind of um, the main point that I was making at the end of the video when talking about the use of tarot divination or fortune telling tools opens the gate to the spirits of the air to start destiny swapping with you. Your only destiny is if your name is written in the book of life or if you're going to be sentenced to hellfire. um so this is why I encourage people to accept Christ as their Lord and Savior, to read what the Bible says. um don't take church um for its word all the time. Read the Bible for yourself. There's a lot of commercialization, a lot of marketing, a lot of government use of the church. It is not always the best place to um, develop a real intimacy with God and with Christ. Church is a community where it's maintenance of your faith through socializing with other people who have the same faith. But the church is not always qualified for spirituality. Church is very rarely qualified for spiritual warfare, and the church is not qualified to help you find a suitable mate. Most people who go to church, I mentioned again that there's not a lot for singles at church. Once you become a beautiful and attractive, handsome young man or woman, and you are an adult and you're ready to mate, the church really most of the time has nothing for you unless you are part of a certain community, a certain environment where there are eligible men and women in your church. Um, it's not a place that helps people hook up. So I encourage people to read the Bible to get to the place of accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior, and learning how the Bible and the scriptures and the Proverbs can enlighten you and help you with spiritual warfare and just help you be a better person and accomplish your goals in life through wisdom. Destiny swapping in its spiritual context is about devils getting you to sell your soul for fame and fortune, or getting you to make extreme sacrifices to have something that is not yours or that you don't have, namely getting a man or woman who you like that is not interested in you to like you, to love you, getting you know uh getting things to go your way, and making extreme spiritual sacrifices to get things to go your way. So continuing with that topic, I want to reiterate that through the use of tarot and through the manipulation of tarot, by putting yourself on the tarot card timeline instead of maintaining your own actual timeline and your own lifestyle. Once you use tarot, you put yourself on that 1 year timeline. 52 cards, 52 weeks in 1 year, 52 chapters in this 1 year book of a life, and then the cycle continues, and you're now on a 1 year cycle, and you keep reliving every tarot card. You never actually stay in your timeline. What the result, because I was kind of tired last night when I was finishing up, and I wanted to just say that the result of tarot and the result of the putting yourself on this timeline, the result of altering your destiny by becoming a tarot diviner because you have used this tool so much that you are now an expert at it because you've gotten such an addiction to using the deck. All these things are how the spirits of the air manipulate you off of your destiny, and when things do not go your way, and or you are now putting put you are now trapping other people into the tarot card timeline by becoming a tarot card reader, instead of encouraging them to accept Christ. And now you're doing the work of these devils. They manipulate you to, when you keep pulling these bad cards or you keep pulling good cards and expecting the things to just happen and fall in your lap, and they never do, and you keep going back to the tarot for affirmation and confirmation and divination. What you do is, what happens is, you get to the point where you just get so frustrated that you just sell your soul, because we all know that's how you achieve the fame and fortune. If you're not born into it, if you were born into being a peasant, I'm not saying don't try to become financially stable, but don't think you're going to become what a sovereign is born into. Everyone is born differently for a reason. And destiny swapping starts with someone wanting someone else's destiny, because their actual lifestyle and what they were born into is different than theirs. And we and because the use of tarot, and because the spirits of the air, once you use them for fortune telling, they manipulate you into selling your soul to get what you want, because you will never actually get what you want. You will always be waiting for it, expecting what the card says to come true, this, and that, expecting it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Or when you pull the bad cards, you always be looking for a way to break the curse. You always be looking for a way to cleanse and heal so you can manifest properly. It's all bullshit. It's all the spirits of the air manipulating you to ultimately selling your soul and doing the most extreme thing that you know you can actually do to get what you want that you don't have. And what you need to be doing is looking in the mirror, thanking God, especially if you are not in a wheelchair and and your body works and you have the ability to go to the gym and get healthy. You have the ability and the freedom to accomplish your goals and take action and get a job and talk to people and network and do things. That is as good as it gets. And I wanted to make the aside from making the point that tarot divination is, it's the spirits of the air will try to manipulate you into selling your soul for fame and fortune, which is what all these celebrities did. And they told you, and they have all this Illuminati promotion and propaganda, so to speak, but they have all these things promoting selling your soul for fame and fortune. And it is in it is expressed in the way of, oh, these stars are so bad, look what they did, they really did magic, they really did this, it's all a cult. But no, that's the way Satan promotes the act of selling your soul, by acting like people who are conscious and people who are whistleblowers and people who are conspiracy theorists, shedding light on it. But by shedding light, which Satan does, light, or Lucifer the light bearer, by shedding light on it and revealing these secrets, they are promoting for people to do these things. Because the only form of destiny swapping is taking your name out of the book of life because you have made a pact with the devil, you sold your soul, or essentially, honestly, as far as I know, the only way to really end up in hell is to reject Christ as your Lord and Savior. As far as I know, that's the only real way to end up in hell. Rejecting Christ, refusing to accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. Um, that's why it's so important. Doreen Virtue, one of the most popular tarot deck creators and readers in mainstream spirituality community, you know, got saved and preached about Christ of Nazareth and stopped making tarot. This is it's not rare. If you really look at, there are so many reformed witches taught, um, exposing witchcraft for what it is in mainstream, exposing um the exposing fortune telling for what it is, exposing devil worship for what it is, and encouraging people to accept Christ, because that's our real responsibility, and we don't want to go to hell. We have firsthand access to the spirit realm, and we are trying to take full responsibility of it by doing what we should be doing, which is not trying to fortune tell and take away your fortune. We don't tell your fortune. God, your name is either written in the book of life or not. What happens here in your flesh and blood is um that is for you to do. When you need spiritual counseling, we need to use our spiritual gifts that other people may not have to help you. We do not, you need to use tools of divination. God gave us our gift. The tools of divination come from the adversary, the devil. Peace la raza, familia. Peace la raza. H and I, oh, don't get weird on me. Say what's up. Um, so the advanced points that I want to make is once the spirits of the air start working with you and manipulating you, they want to get you so frustrated with not having fame and fortune, with not fame and fortune, not this is in particular the other point I want to make. They want to frustrate young people um to not having fame and fortune overnight so quickly that they sell their soul. This is why you never, hardly ever, very rarely, if ever, see a person over the age of 50 talking about someone trying to destiny swap with them. It's always girls in their 20s. It's always younger women in their 20s, maybe early 30s, talking about somebody's trying to destiny swap with me. You never see someone over 50 talking about that, and you don't hear a lot of men talking about destiny swapping. You don't hear a lot of men doing that because men are taught to earn their way through life. Women are taught to attach yourself to a man to achieve a goal. Men are generally taught to earn their way through life. So it is mostly homosexual men who seek out tarot divination for guidance and counseling. The at most masculine men solve their problems on their own. They do not seek out spiritual products and services to help them solve their problems. This is a feminine goddess worship activity. That is why homosexual men tend to do that's why being a witch is a feminine thing. And if you are a male witch, you're in your feminine. You are either warlock or wizard or homosexual. Witchcraft is inherently goddess worship. Witchcraft is inherently feminine. It is inherently passive. Okay? It's inherently passive. It's inherently secrecy. Witchcraft is inherently secrecy. It is all about what is done in the dark to manipulate what happens in the light. That's all witchcraft is about. Yes, it is protection. Yes, it is, blessings. Yes, it is agriculture. Yes, it is all those things. But when you are dealing with the spiritual, not just the metaphysical, not just the agricultural aspect of witchcraft, when you're dealing with the spiritual aspect of witchcraft, it is what happens in the dark. It is dealing with the moon, dealing with lunacy, dealing with moon worship, dealing with rituals and things that don't happen in the light. They happen in secrecy. So that is to say, you don't hear men or women or people over 50 talking about destiny swapping. Why? Because it is young people who believe success should happen overnight. It is people in their 20s who believe that they should become successful in their 20s while they're young in order to be successful. They are the ones who have been told all their life, you're going to be successful, you're going to be great, you're so gifted, you're so great, you're so wonderful, you're so talented. Their teachers, their parents, all these adults, all their childhood told them that they were so great and they are, destined to be successful. And then they're in their 20s and it doesn't happen. They're in their 20s and oh shit, success didn't happen overnight. I didn't make one song and go viral overnight and get 1 million followers overnight or become rich and famous overnight or sign to a record label and start touring my song overnight. I didn't become rich and famous overnight. I didn't become the CEO of this company overnight. I didn't become rich and famous by the time I was 25, by the time I was 27, by the time I was 32. And I was told all my life that I'm going to be successful by other adults who none of them were successful. Every adult who tells you as a child you're going to be successful, none of them are billionaires. None of them are rich and famous. They're all people in your community who think because you're so good at what you do and think telling you those things, you know, they're because they admire you because you're a little different. And they're putting this destiny on you, and they are not telling you the reality that you're going to have to work. And most success does not happen until your 50s. Statistically, success does not happen until your 50s, which is why it's so important to stay healthy so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, because it's not going to happen until after you're 50. Now, when you want to be a millionaire because you are watching people on TV who were born into wealth, and now you want a destiny swap with them because you were born into poverty, because that's where it starts. That's where it starts. It's always poor people who want something that they were not born into and they don't have, or people who want something that they were not born and gifted with, born into that family that could provide them for that. And you want something you don't have, and you're doing things to achieve what you don't have. And then you blame other people for trying to destiny swap with you because they admire you because you have the gift of being influential. You are not really ready to use it on a grander scale, and you get all up in arms when someone wants to look like you and be like you and fuck your man and wear your hairstyle. And that in and of itself is the spirits testing you to see, do you even deserve fame and fortune? Because you acting all crazy when one person wants to be like you. The whole world will want to be like you once you get fame and fortune. Yeah, and people can't handle it. And destiny swapping, the only people who complain about it are people in their 20s or maybe early 30s. No one over 50 complains about destiny swapping, because people over 50 understand, I you have to work to achieve your goals. Everyone does. You don't work, you don't eat. People over 50 have done the work to accomplish things and have the wisdom to know that people can't take away the work that they've done. Someone can't, people can steal items from you and steal those things, but people can't take away your wisdom. People can't take away your know-how. Um, no one over, people over the age of 50 don't are not the ones complaining. It's always someone young who has not achieved their particular goal, who is not appreciating how beautiful and talented they are and focusing on doing that, who is so actually they themselves are the ones focused on what everyone else is doing, what everyone else has, because they're young and they believe that success should happen overnight. And when you have this deep ingrained belief that success should happen overnight because the card said it's meant for you, because all these adults told you you're so great, it has to be meant for me. I know I'm great. I think I'm the best thing since sliced bread. The tarot cards affirmed it. Everything affirmed it. Why didn't it happen? Well, because you haven't been doing it for 25 years. That's why. Because that's when success starts. When you've been doing it for 25 years. And no one wants to accept that, especially when you come from poverty. No one wants to accept that you have to be doing something for at least 10 years for anyone to really recognize any professionalism in you for doing it. Please, stop with the bullshit thinking success should happen overnight, because that is the number one way to get a young person in their 20s to sell their soul. Them not wanting to wait until they're in their prime, which starts when you're age 50, to achieve the fruits of their labor. So that's the other way the spirits of the air get you to sell your soul. They manipulate you into thinking that success should happen overnight when you're young. And you lose focus on every day working towards success and putting yourself in position to be successful and going through the saving, going through the working, going through getting promoted and moving to the next level, going through getting the education, going through all the things that it takes. They don't want to do that, and they have not had enough adults tell them that reality. They've had people all their life tell them, because you look better than average, things are going to fall in your lap, and you start to believe it. when you have to work and you want to be fame and fortune. It's not going to happen until after you're 50, or you were born into it. In that case, if you were born into fame and fortune, you're going to have millions of peasants doing tarot divination, trying to destiny swap with you, doing affirmations saying, I'm a millionaire, I'm this, I'm that, when they're not. They were born into poverty. That's the only people who does that shit. People who was born into poverty, doing all this, trying to do this law of attraction, manifestation, saying affirmations, doing tarot readings, trying to have an easy life, because they see that in this there is a world full of people who were born into rich families, and that's what all peasants want: the ability to not have to work for as hard for a living. And they think that having money and having a insurmountable amount of money is going to solve their problems. And at the end of the day, no one wants to destiny swap more than a poor person that has a little more talent than the next motherfucker. And it's women. And the tarot manipulates you into thinking everyone's trying to destiny swap with you, when it's you who wants to step out of your particular life path and step out of the hard work it takes to achieve the goals that you want, that are probably really high if you come from poverty. Your goal is probably to be like someone who's rich, when you can have such a fulfilling life staying in your lane. And when you don't want to do that, you end up selling your soul for fame and fortune. And that is the only form of destiny swapping there is in the spirit realm. No one can come and take your name written out of the book of life when God has your name written in the book of life. All you can do is focus on all this other stuff instead of the gifts God gave you. And then you sell your soul, you erase your name for the book of life, and you sentence yourself to hellfire because you wanted fame and fortune so bad and you didn't appreciate what God gave you. It is understandable when someone is suffering like Job, and Job didn't even deny Christ. Job didn't curse God and die, and he suffered, aside from Christ, from what we know in the Bible, the worst form of punishment from Satan next to Christ. And he didn't curse God and die because he was suffering. So you can almost understand that someone who was born with a handicap, someone who is suffering, physically suffering in life, can't take care of themselves, can't move. But if you are able to wipe your own ass, if you are not in a wheelchair, if you have legs that work and your body works, and you have the ability to get up and walk and brush your own teeth, put on your own outfit, and go out into the world with your own mobility, and you can get a job and work and make your own money, and you don't need an in-home caretaker to make sure you are alive every day, you have no reason to be out here trying to be fame and fortune. Go to fucking work and go home. That's as good as it gets. You want something outside of that? Do the extra work it takes to become the CEO, to become a famous author, to get your music worldwide to where you're touring the world. If you want some exorbitant shit, if you just want some extraordinary shit in your life, then do the extraordinary shit it takes to achieve that. But if it was not handed to you at birth by having rich parents, stay in your lane and don't kill yourself trying to achieve as a peasant what other people can achieve with a better support system. Recognize what you have and use what you have, and don't sell your soul and kill yourself trying to have what someone else has. You don't know what comes with their lifestyle. And this is how spirits of the air get young people to sell their soul in their 20s and their 30s instead of waiting till they're 50 to see the fruits of their labor. and knowing how to stay consistent with whatever you want to do to see the fruits of your labor, if you're not just happy with having a job, making money, and being and having the freedom that comes with being able to go to work and go home and live and have freedom, you're not just happy with that. If you're not happy with how you look and your health and the people around you and the people that love you, if you just need so much fucking more than what you have in life and you have no ability to appreciate how good your life actually is, you know, go around people who have it worse than you so you can reestablish some fucking gratitude. Go around people who are wheelchair bound, whose legs have been blown off. Go around people who are in their 90s and can't wipe their own ass or eat their own food. Go around people who need a caretaker to even let the bodily functions that God gave them work on a day-to-day basis because they can't take care of themselves. And now appreciate what God gave you and stop thinking fame and fortune is gonna give you the best lifestyle that you can possibly have. That is all tarot divination and all this shit is about. It is only ever people who want to be rich and famous. There's no other reason for it. It's only people who want more than what they have. People who are too meek and scared to take the action to get what they want, so they got to ask the tarot to see if it's already theirs before they develop the confidence to go after it. Let me check with the tarot before, because I'm not really confident to go after the relationship I want, go after the job I want, go after what I want in life with my own confidence. You want some spirit to give you confidence to do it, and all they're going to do is manipulate you into having the ego big enough to think that you deserve more than what you have, deserve what everyone else has, and now you got to be this and you got to be that, and it didn't happen overnight, so now you're going to sell your soul. That's the only form of destiny swapping, selling your soul for what you don't have and taking your name out the book of life. Otherwise, your destiny, if you are destined to be something, then no one can take away your destiny spiritually. And if you're worried about someone taking away your destiny spiritually, then you have a subconscious understanding that it's not yours, it's not given, it's not granted. You have to work for it. If you're worried about someone being able to do a spell and swap with what was meant for you, then you have the subconscious belief that it's really not yours. You would never, ever, ever hold any form of belief that someone can take your destiny away from you. If you knew subconsciously, you have to work for what you have. It wasn't handed to you. And why is that? Because it's all bullshit. This destiny swapping is people who have not achieved anything, worried about someone taking what's meant for them that some God has waiting for you, and all you got to do is just show up and take it. No, you have to work toward a goal. You have to set a goal first and work toward it. Fame and fortune is not going to fall out of the sky into your lap, and that's what the sky spirits convince you will happen. If you're destined to happen. So it's going to fall out of the sky and into your lap. Everyone holds this belief about their destiny. And when you go to the tarot cards, the moment it does not fall out of the sky into your lap, that's when you go open the tarot gates and open all these gates of divination to figure out, well, why hasn't it fallen in my lap yet? Well, did you get up off your ass and make any step toward it? No, you're waiting for it to fall out of your lap because you have been told it's your destiny. And if you have any inclination that someone can steal that from you, it's because you have that subconscious understanding that you have to put in the work, and you are looking at someone who looks at you as a template, wore your hairstyle, wore your dress, got the same shoes you got, copycatted you, and then took action to take something from you. The point is they took action. They didn't wake up with your hairstyle. They got up and got it. They took action. They didn't wake up with your boyfriend in between their legs. They took the action to steal him from you. They took action. It didn't fall out of the sky from your head over to theirs. They took serious actions to become you and take what you had. And I can guarantee you were passive and you didn't take action because you were told all your life you're destined for this and it's going to fall into your lap, and you took no action to protect what you had. You took no action to maintain or increase what you already had. You were passive. Someone was active. They used you as a template. They saw you as something to prey upon, something that they could steal from, and they stole it. And the only thing someone can steal from you is a physical item, including a lover. It's a physical item. Your destiny is written in the book of life or not. That's it, and that's all. So the only way a person cannot steal that from you. A spirit has to convince you to sell your soul to the devil. A spirit must convince you to sell your soul to the devil. And that is not a human person. That is a spirit that infests the people around you to get you so scared and afraid, and they're doing more work and they're going to accomplish, and they're stealing my destiny. They're not stealing nothing. You haven't accomplished shit for them to steal. They are doing the work. And you're mad that them doing the work and them putting in more effort than you are actually putting in is working for them, and they're taking from you. That's the advanced destiny swapping. It's all your ego. It's all your envy. It's all your fear of doing the work, expecting it to fall in your lap, and then seeing someone taking what you are being passive with and becoming active with it, seeing that work for them, and now you're calling it destiny swapping when I promise and guarantee you were just passive. You were just passive. Take action. Take action. And stop thinking because you got the man that you don't have to keep him. The moment you get him, if you look good, every other woman is out there to get him. Understand that's what comes with the territory of being beautiful and being so destined for great things. What comes with the territory is everyone trying to take from you. And if you can't handle that, you're not ready for the destiny you about to sell your soul for. You can't handle the jealousy that comes with the gift that you have right now. How are you going to handle fame and fortune when the entire world is going to be jealous of you? Trying to wear your haircut, wear your hairstyle, wear what you wear, fuck what fuck your man, be with the type of man you're with. Fame and fortune is all about becoming a marketing tool for the devil. The moment you achieve the fame and fortune you want so bad because you've been told you're the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread, all that's going to happen is you're going to become a marketing promotional model for what the devil wants to promote in society. That's why all these men become rich and famous, to promote interracial dating. Why is interracial dating so fucking important to Satan? That's why I did that whole upload about these white women who want to fuck these black men, have baby by these black men as if it's a normal thing to do, and then you're cursed with children who hate themselves because they don't know if they're black or white because you had a mutant. You wanted to have a mutant because all these celebrities promote interracial dating as if it's normal, and you sentence yourself to hell on earth because you wanted to be taboo and popular. Less than 1% of these interracial relationships be based on love. They're based on ego. People be dating for color instead of compatibility. And they were too stupid to figure it out until they had a baby and recognized they had a baby by someone with a completely opposite culture than you. And now that baby's going to suffer because you decided to have a baby to prove a point to society. You had a baby out of narcissism. And now it suffers because it hates itself, because it does not know if it's black or white. It's both. It's neither. It's a mutant. And it would rather be black. It would rather just be black. And the worst thing that a black man can do is give its child a white mother. No one suffers more than a light-skinned black woman who looks white and who is desperate to prove she's black. Black men, stop giving your children white mothers. There's nothing worse you can do for them. And you guys know it. You see how your children suffer from it. You guys hear that? Rico. Now I know what it's like to have a child that plays a musical instrument because he blows to the top of his lungs, singing all day and night. Gosh, that's what I have to deal with. But cats are very, very protective too. And sometimes you got to deal with stuff to keep a spiritual temple protected from evil. So never underestimate the blessing of having a cat or an animal familiar. Please tolerate them because you don't have any idea how much spiritual protection and blessings they are bringing into your life. And the better you treat them, the more blessings you will receive. So please tolerate your animals. Please tolerate your pets and take care of them because you don't know what a blessing it is to be a steward of one of God's creations. You don't know what a responsibility you're taking on, and you have no idea how much God appreciates that. Look at farmers and look at shepherds. Being a shepherd was one of the most important things in the Bible, and all they did all day was take care of animals that were vulnerable. So please understand, as annoying and insane as having pets can be, you are doing God's work. You are being a steward of the land. Farmers and shepherds, that this is how you take care of paradise earth. And that's the responsibility people are going to have of taking care of paradise earth after Armageddon. Yeah. So, you know, and I'm starting to think that paradise earth is really more, I feel like I don't, I feel like you know I don't really I feel like I feel like we are on paradise earth, but I do feel that there is a layer to it that is heavenly, and I feel like earth right now where we are at, I feel like we are still in middle earth, so to speak, meaning we are smack dab right in the middle between heaven and hell. But I feel like what we are experiencing now in this realm, we're experiencing hell on earth. And we're experiencing the beginnings of Armageddon, the beginnings of hell on earth. And that's why we're middle earth, because we are experiencing hell on earth. And that is what being alive in this third dimension in the human experience, I believe that's what it is. We are experiencing hell on earth right now. And in the afterlife is where you experience a better or a worse version of this. So please stay out of hell. Please accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. I mean, why not? What could go wrong? Think about that. What could possibly go wrong from you accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior? Now ask yourself, what could go wrong from you not doing it? Please think of it that way and just do it. Just do it. Please. Because I don't want to go to hell for teaching tarot divination. I took it seriously, and I'm asking you to take your soul seriously and understand destiny swapping starts the moment you pick up a tarot card because you want something that you don't already have. Look in the mirror, look at your own ego. Stop thinking other people, stop worrying about what other people are doing and taking what you have, and understand that you have gifts, Christian gifts, healing gifts. And you don't need to become rich and famous for them to reach their full potential. This is why so many people do join church and they sing for God in church. They play an instrument for God in church. They don't always join a rock band. They don't always want to become rich and famous with their music. They're okay with being in choir in church. They're okay with doing it for God in church. And that's what church be for. It be for people to worship God in a community setting and to express their talents in a godly setting. That's what church be for. You know. It's not all and it's for people who have humbled themselves spiritually to understand just because they're spiritually gifted doesn't mean that they have to become rich and famous for it. You know? They can go to church and take on a position within a spiritual community, and in order to do that you have to do the work. You have to get people to trust you. You have to do the work, especially if you're a beautiful woman, to let people know, to take you seriously, and that you have more to offer than the people who are in the clergy, and to know that you are more skilled, and to make them take you seriously. Women pastors don't just up and become women pastors. They had to overcome sexism to get that position, just like every other woman had to overcome sexism to get a high any position she's in that ain't underneath a man. That ain't bare any position a woman has that ain't barefoot and pregnant. She had to overcome sexism to be in that position. Understand that, ladies, and stop thinking all this goddess worship is going to help you overcome the confronting sexism head on. And that's what y'all is expecting. Stop doing all this divination, thinking you can go out into the world and not experience racism, not experience sexism, not experience having to work your way to achieve a goal. Get to work. I mean it. Get to work. Please don't stop what you're doing and start selling your soul because it just didn't happen yet. Stop looking at that tip of the iceberg and know that there is a whole sheet of ice underneath that iceberg of work, of substance. Stop looking at people at the top and forgetting how tall that mountain was that they climbed when they got there, and get to work. Take that first step to climbing that mountain, or appreciate where the fucking valley that you live in and make the most of it. But if you want to climb the mountain and be on top of Everest, get to work. Because destiny swapping, what it is it you egocentric people who don't want to have to work your way through life and aren't happy with what you have. You gonna sell your soul to have what somebody else has or what someone else achieved. I promise you, that's all it is. That's the only form of spiritual destiny swapping. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I at this time, and please, and the last thing I want to remind you, it happens with young people, young women. It's always young women with this ego that they are the best thing ever, who can't handle the what comes with being the best thing ever, who can't handle the one person trying to be like you, can't handle one person trying to take what you have because you are shining so bright, get all up in arms and worried about someone destiny swapping, and then you get all up in arms and you go out of your way. If you see someone destiny swapping, or if you see someone being single white female, just cut them off and don't go back to your vomit. Cut them off. If you don't have the confidence enough to cut someone off cold turkey and tell them, you're making me uncomfortable, I don't like what you're doing, if you can't confront a crazy female, what makes you think you can confront these high fame and fortune goals that you have? If you can confront one measly motherfucker in your vicinity acting crazy because they're obsessed with you, if you can't handle one motherfucker, what makes you think fame and fortune and you're going to be able to handle billions of people acting crazy? You guys don't get it. And I know that you guys are not powerful because you can't handle it. That's why I keep telling women, when you have the gift of Oshun, you got the gift of Oshun because you are strong enough to wield that beauty. Very few women are strong enough to wield beauty. They can't even handle one bitch trying to be like her and fuck her man. What makes you think you have any qualifications to wield the power of beauty? Y'all need to sit the fuck down with this destiny swapping bullshit. It's you. Every time a female is talking about somebody and I'm not talking about the spiritual teachers or the people who are teaching you necessarily about how to prevent destiny swapping and how it happens. I'm talking about all these women who are saying someone destiny swapping with me, and it's not all the superficial shit you think. Anyone who thinking someone destiny swapping with them, they are the ones who have the ego to think that they're better. They were the ones who were told that they're meant for great things all their life. And the moment someone else got their same haircut, got their same tattoo, fucked their same man, then they got the humility to realize it's not going to fall in my lap. I do have to put in the work. I have to actually be great. I can't just I can't just think that it's going to fall in my lap and nothing ever bad is going to happen to me because I'm destined for great. That's what happens. And the spirits test you to see if someone else did exactly what you did, how do you act? Because that's what happens. If you don't use it, you lose it. And when you are so passive because you think you're the best thing and you think it's fame is going to happen overnight, then you sell your soul instead of actually doing the work. When someone copycats you, it's a reminder that you got some work to do. It's a reminder to stop getting fucking comfortable in your position. And it's also a reminder that you are already great. Don't get mad at that, because it's really not preventing you from still shining. It's just humbling you. It's humbling you to remind you, if I don't use these gifts, they can be taken away from me and someone else will. Destiny swapping is you using tarot divination and letting the spirits of the air manipulate you into selling your soul, or manipulate you into putting other people, taking their soul and putting it into the tarot card timeline and getting them stuck in the tarot card timeline so much that instead of accepting Christ, they sell their soul to because they're still trying to get something that they don't already have, because they're not appreciating what they do have. And if you're not in a wheelchair, you have everything you need. If you're not in a hospital bed, bedridden, with no hope of leaving the hospital bed, where someone has to take care of you every day of your life because you are immobile, you have everything you need. And even those people do not curse God and die. Even the most suffering people, suffering the most physical hardship on planet Earth, are not rejecting Christ as their Lord and Savior. They be up in church half the time. Church is full of handicapped people. You know. So, you know, understand, have the wisdom to know that you should have the expectation that you are not going to achieve fame and fortune when you were born a peasant. You should not expect to become rich and famous until you are 50. If you were born a peasant, if you were not born rich, and if you were not born famous because your parents were both of those things, or at least one of them, you should expect it to take until you are the age of 50 to achieve either one of those. That's real. And when you start to develop that expectation, you're going to start appreciating your life and appreciating what you have. And you're going to appreciate what you have already accomplished. And you're going to start to appreciate the few people who do want to be like you. You're going to start to appreciate the fans that you have right now, instead of wanting millions more, as if you could handle it. You can handle one bitch wanting to wear your hairstyle. Fuck makes you think you can handle billions of people wanting to do it, wanting to copycat you. Y'all be weird as fuck. It's the people talking about destiny swapping that be weird as fuck, egocentric, narcissistic, no humility, demon possessed, and no, and have not accepted the Christianity of their gift. They don't want to do the Christianity of their gift and heal other people. They want to become rich and famous. And you know, no. If you are gifted, there's always going to be someone who's going to copycat you. Humble yourself to it and learn to appreciate your fans. Learn to appreciate that person who want to learn to appreciate your fucking minions. Learn to appreciate your your acolytes. Learn to appreciate your proteges. Learn to appreciate your students. Learn to appreciate people who admire you and are acting like you. Because when you're an adult and a little child admires you and looks up to you, what do? They dress like you, they talk like you, they act like you, and then they go home and their parents see how they're acting, and and if you start to do things that are bad, the first thing the parent says, you've been spending too much time around Uncle Bob, because now you're using curse words. You're a 5-year-old saying the word shit. The first thing your parent says is, you've been spending too much time around Uncle Bob. We gonna go to church. Because they want you to go to church and start being like the people in church, because they know who you admire. The moment you start to admire someone and you start to spend a lot of time around them, to the point where you start to be like them, because you want to become like them, you want to grow up to be like them. And the first thing, and when a child admires someone and wants to grow up to be like them because that's their role model, the parent notices. And if it's a good role model, the parent wants that child to be around that person more. Oh wow, she cooks such this good meal. I want her to go over her girlfriend's house more, because when she goes hangs around this girlfriend, they cook and they bake and they learn things, and she comes back to my household better when she hangs around this girlfriend and goes over this girlfriend's household with her parents. So when children admire something, they copycat it. Look at motherfuckers as start, uh learn to appreciate. And I tell witches so much how to protect and guard your energy from creepy people, and how to guard your energy from people wanting it so much. Um, but don't always look at this behavior as a bad thing. Get to the point where you appreciate the very people right now in your life who admire you so much, and stop wanting to go get on TV and get millions and this and that and get millions of other people to like you. You don't want to lose your privacy in life. Now, if you want to be so rich and famous and you're one of these eccentric motherfuckers that needs an insurmountable of attention all the time just to breathe, if you can't breathe without someone giving you attention, then yes, please, by all means, become rich and famous. I promise you won't stop until you do. But if you like any fucking ounce of your freedom and privacy, you're not going to enjoy fame. You're not going to enjoy fame. And if you want fortune and privacy, get to work, save your money, and don't tell nobody, and just start traveling. Stop trying to play the lottery and win millions of dollars. I calculate how much money you spent playing the lottery, and calculate how much money you have won from the lottery in the past 10 years, and see which number is bigger. I guarantee it's the number of how much you spent on playing lottery and gambling. I promise the number you spend gambling surpasses the amount of money you won in your lifetime. I promise you that. That $2,000 you won that one time, I promise you spent about $10,000 in the last 5 years gambling, if that's an addiction that you have, or a habit that you have. I promise you that one time you hit big, I promise you you've spent it back fivefold in the last 5 years or 10 years trying to get that fix again. I promise you, the more you try and get a quick fix, the more you get set back. The best form of wealth you can achieve is networking with people who have resources, and developing intimacy enough with them where you don't need to take their resource, where you have access to their resource because you have a genuine intimacy with them. Start getting rich friends. Not because of their money, because they are healthier than people who don't have resources. And stop trying to befriend people because of what they have, and start to learn to put yourself in environments where everyone has something and everyone is healthy because of it, and you are naturally going to elevate because you have put yourself in an environment where everyone has more. And that includes putting yourself in an environment where everyone is beautiful and handsome and is a model. You will naturally start to pour into your looks when you are in an environment where everyone looks good. The fact that there are so many ugly people is because everyone's ugly in America. Everyone's fucking ugly. And it is phenomenal to be beautiful. Everyone in America is ugly. I know it. And again, maybe that's just, I've been in Chicago, Illinois, in the Midwest all my life too long. But everybody be fucking ugly. And it's scary how in certain environments people treat you because they've never seen a beautiful woman. and they're just not used to seeing a beautiful woman. There's places that when you get more in the rich areas, people look good because they look good, they dress good, they have the etiquette of knowing your appearance is your business card. And when you're not born in wealth and or status or understanding social etiquette, you do not automatically understand that it is your duty to look good and to dress good and to have etiquette, to have fresh breath, to have your hair done, hair, nails done, to have these hygiene things and these etiquette things of how you look because you are constantly in public socializing and networking. When you're not held to that standard, you don't have the tradition of looking good, and it's scary how many people just even people who raised going to church, you're supposed to dress up for church, and if you don't even have the church etiquette to know how to go outside in public and look your best, then you lack then you that's how people end up ugly. They weren't held to the standard for where you go in public, you have to look your best. And that's just low class. The only way to explain why someone is ugly is because they have no class. Everyone with class looks good, even if they're not, even if they have an average level of attractiveness, they still present themselves with high class. And because of that, they look good. They look good. Not looking good is low class. The only reason you do not look good in public is because you lack class. And class means that education and means that etiquette to know how to put yourself together to where people automatically respect you. If you don't have that education and weren't taught that as a child because your parents didn't require you to dress up and at the very least go to church, if you weren't going to dinner parties and banquets and events and you didn't learn the social etiquette in high class, at the very least your parents should have been making you dress up for church. And when you look at these women who go to the airport in bonnets wearing pajamas, women who go to dinner, go to lunch in bonnets and pajamas, you are looking at women whose mothers and fathers never made them dress up for church. And if they did, that their child is making their parent look like they didn't raise them. And 9 times out of 10 is because the parent didn't. 9 times out of 10, when you see a female, a black woman in the airport or in a restaurant with a bonnet or just in public, and when I say public, I use this loosely because in our communities, we walk around comfortably amongst ourselves. We walk around comfortably with our hair covered with rollers in our hair in our communities, and we should be able to. Black women should be able to in our communities, in our neighborhoods. We should be able to walk around with rollers and with bonnets and maybe occasionally with pajamas to the local gas station, to the local Dollar Tree. We should be able to do that in our communities amongst ourselves. The moment you leave your community, when you go outside of the community and you make your parents look bad and you make other black people look bad, that's low class. In our communities as black people, we deserve the comfort to be in our community with our traditions, knowing how our hair looks, knowing with our hair half done, and we had to run to the store to get some more gel or something. We should have the freedom to do that in our community without being judged. I'm talking about the moment you leave your neighborhood, the moment you leave your particular neighborhood, you know, because there's things white people do in their neighborhoods, but when they're around black people, they have the etiquette to respect when they're around a place that's not predominantly white. You think white people don't make little jokes and do this and this and that, but they have enough etiquette to know when they get around a multicultural scenario, they're not gonna do and say the things that they might say when it's just white people. And they should be able to, when they're amongst themselves, make jokes or make comments or make things when they're amongst themselves. They should be able to do things in their own community that may not be normal outside of a white community. And there's not a lot of things that in white communities are not normal all over. Because white people tend to have that class, you know. There's very few things that white people do in their communities, but white people have different levels of hygiene. And white people, they make racist jokes amongst themselves. Or if it's a bunch of white guys and there's no black people around and they're listening to a hip hop song, they might say the word nigga. That's a release for them. They want to be able to say those lyrics. They like that music, but they have enough goddamn sense not to do it in front of a black person. They have etiquette, they have class. But black people, we don't have enough sense not to wear rollers in our hair around some crackers. We don't have enough sense not to wear pajamas and bonnets in a social setting around crackers. We enjoy making other black people look bad. We enjoy making our race look bad. We enjoy going around white people and showing how disgusting we can be and how we can get away with being uh, ignorant around white people. Black people enjoy bringing down the energy of what around white people. Black people love to go around white people and destroy the standards. Black people enjoy going around white people, turning up the volume, being loud, wearing bonnets, being ignorant, disturbing the peace, disrupting the cultural context. Black people enjoy doing that. Black people enjoy making white people uncomfortable. And this is a different subject, but I hope you guys understand that. The reason black people are doing that is because they are enjoying making white people uncomfortable. They are enjoying disturbing the peace. They are enjoying bringing down the value of the community, of the property. They are enjoying doing that. They are enjoying bringing destruction to white people. I hope everyone understands black people enjoy doing that to white people. It is a pastime for black people to go around white people and destroy whatever they have built. That is something that black people enjoy doing. And a lot of white people are too stupid to be racist. They're too stupid to be racist. You know, and there's a lot of white people that aren't. There's a lot of white people that love black people. They wish they were black. They spend a lot of time around black people. They go out of their way to make sure the black people in their communities are extra comfortable because they have an affinity for black people. But more so, they have a fear of God that makes them honor black people and honor our struggle. There's a lot of white people like that. But most white people are too fucking stupid to be racist. You got the liberal agenda to think for that. And most racist white people, um, they they don't go out. They have a certain mindset and they have a certain standard. And a lot of racist white people, they want segregation because they come off as racist, but they know what's best for black people. And they can't stand to see the detrimental aspects of our culture being promoted. They know what's best, and they and rate and taking on a racist mindset is their only way to correct how bad black culture is and has become in America, not African culture. Black American slave syndrome culture. They understand that taking on racist ideologies is the only way to correct the negative things that black people experience. Most racist people are not actively lynching black people in some backwoods. They're not the KKK that enjoys destroying what black people build, that enjoys making black people comfortable. So you gotta understand, a lot of black people in public doing all this stuff, they the black KKK. They doing what the KKK did. The KKK enjoyed destroying everything black people built for ourselves. Most racist white people in this day and age, they are not part of the Ku Klux Klan. And I don't want to say the Ku Klux Klan doesn't exist. I think it's just exists more in a covert way. The most Ku Klux Klan you gonna see is interracial dating. That's more Ku Klux Klan than anything in modern times. But it just ain't enough crackers to be Ku Klux Klan. It's not enough of them. There's everyone in America hates white people. And if the Ku Klux Klan existed, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have so many Trump haters. So most racist white people is not doing Ku Klux Klan. They're not practicing Ku Klux Klan level of racism. They are practicing conservative Christian values, and they are labeled as racist because of it. So let's remove head from ass. Let's understand destiny swapping. Whoever smelt it dealt it. That's the advanced mystery behind destiny swapping. Whoever smelt it dealt it. Whoever is accusing someone of destiny swapping with them, they started doing tarot. They think they're better than everyone else. They think fame and fortune is supposed to fall in their lap, and somebody else put in a little work. They got a result. They saw the person get a result from doing what they did, and now they are mad because they thought that things should have just fell in their lap, and someone else got their haircut, got their tattoo, got their man. They put in the work. They did the same thing they did, but they went a little farther than the person accusing them of destiny swapping. No, they did the same thing you did. They put in a little more work and went a little further, and now you're accusing them of destiny swapping when it was you, I guarantee, who first opened up a tarot deck when some didn't go your way. And you open the gate for that spirit to enter your life and show you it. You have to work. The moment you get a single white female energy in your life, as any ethnicity, when I say single white female, I'm referring to the film, the film that came out late 90s or something. I'm referring to the film Single White Female. It is not modern. It came out in the late 90s. And this film, Single White Female, the title refers to how you identify yourself. Especially when people first started using internet and first started using like AOL, dial-up internet and stuff, when we first started using social media things, people would identify themselves as single white female, or you would identify yourself that way when you were meeting strangers on the internet. This is also how you identify yourself when you're applying for a job, when you're filling out applications. So single white female is the title refers to identity swapping. It refers to how the movie explains once you have your identity, then another single white female, and they became roommates. And her roommate slowly started to morph into her, and it got weird, and it's a thriller. And so that movie, Single White Female, it is showing how a woman can come into your life and she has the same identity as you. And then she takes on your personality because she had the same identity as you. So when you get a single white female in your life, in the aspect of when you get a woman who is copycatting you, when you get a copycat woman in your life, and you see her going further with copycatting you than you are with being yourself, that's a spirit reminding you to get to work. Because your destiny is written in the book of life. Your destiny is not something that someone can get your same hairstyle and now they have stolen the fame and fortune that's over your head. Stop talking about star. Let me tell you, ain't no star over no motherfucker's head. Put in the work. You may have a halo, but ain't no star destiny to be a star over your motherfucking head. Stop with the demonic bullshit. Anytime someone says they stole my star, you guys got to understand the terminology that demons use because they're in heaven. Humans don't talk about stars the way demons do. Demons live among the cosmos. We on paradise earth. So we don't talk about no stars or shit like that. Y'all ain't no destiny to be up in the sky with no fucking star and took the star over your head. Y'all sound stupid as fuck. You sound like you don't know what the Bible says. Stole my star. Fuck on with that. You don't have a star over your head waiting to fall down and give you fame and fortune. There's no star over your head that someone stole your star, and because they didn't steal your star because what you did worked better for them than it worked for you. You were the one with the problem. Someone wore your same haircut and she went to the audition and she got the job. Stop worrying about someone doing the same thing you do and it working better for them, calling it they stole my star. Bitch, no, they did more work than they put in more effort than you did. That's all that happened. Do they have a mental sickness? Probably. But you know what? They put in more work than you. You were passive because you felt you had a star over your head. You were passive because some demon told you you had a star over your head, and you see someone doing the same thing you did, and now they stole your star. If your destiny is a fucking object that someone can take away from you, you already in hell. Your destiny is written, your name is either written in the book of life or not. It is not a physical object. It is not an opportunity that someone can steal from you. It is not an opportunity. Your destiny is not an opportunity that someone got that you didn't get. Put in the work or recognize that you were rejected from this and continue to do work and go on a path. Stop worrying about what happens with other people. And if you are so concerned with someone stealing your identity, patent your shit. Stop getting so weird spiritual and start getting legal. Start getting real. Start getting real. If you're worried about someone stealing your identity, patent whatever shit you have. But if you don't got shit going on that you can patent so no one steals it, have a fucking seat. That's what people won't tell you. Y'all think too fucking much of yourselves and you get all up in arms the moment someone is more successful doing what you think you doing than you are. Humble yourself. That spirit of that air got you off the narrative. That spirit of the air got you off the assignment. Then spirits of the air that you play around with your tarot divination tools got you forgetting what the whole assignment always was. Now you're competing with another woman who, you know, took notes from you and then took action. Stop thinking you got a star over your head that's just gonna fall, that's waiting to turn. Stop thinking you got a star over your fucking head. Stop thinking you have such a halo and then someone pulls your halo down, you know, and it becomes this noose that you hang yourself with by selling your soul to the devil because you had such an ego thinking you were destined for something and you didn't put in an ounce and a lick of the fucking work. Or maybe you did and you didn't get the results you wanted. Who fucking cares? What difference does it make if you have 1,000 followers or 1,000,000 followers? I genuinely want to know. And what difference does it make if you have 1,000 followers and she put on the same wig you put on and she got 1,000,000 followers? What difference does it make? She sold her soul to be like you to get fame and fortune. But your name is still written in the book of life and you're still the original version. But your name is written in the book of life and hers isn't because she wanted to do something demonic to get something that she didn't have. And it worked. Why did it work? Because she worships Satan and you don't. So stop losing the whole fucking narrative every time some single white female energy comes into your life and gets what you thought that you wanted. Big fucking whoop. Her name is not written in the book of life no more. If she really did some copycat shit, that means she sold her soul too. She learned how to do it from Satan. She got some issues and she lost her destiny by copycatting you, by stealing your identity. If you are still blessed with your name written in the book of life and you have still accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior, your destiny hasn't been stolen. What difference does it make if one bitch is more successful than you doing what the fuck you trying to do? The fuck difference does it make? This is where people won't be so for real. This is where your spiritual leaders and everyone, they're not being real with you. Y'all be the fucking problem. Your ego and playing with these spirits of air that manipulate you into having arrogance, against. You become arrogant. That's what destiny swapping is. It is you becoming arrogant because you're playing with spirits of the air. There's no stars over your fucking head. Enough. You don't have a star that someone stole over your head. No one can steal your destiny. You have to sell your soul to the devil. No one can steal your destiny. You have to sell your soul to the devil to get your name erased from the book of life. Y'all be so full of shit. It's crazy. And it's always these young girls who have been told that they look good and that they're supposed to be successful because of it. Success won't happen until you're 50 if your parents had to work for a living. Enough. If your parents had to work for a living, you will too. Stop thinking you're better than your parents. You fucking people in fucking poverty always think that they're better than their parents and think that they're better than Christ. Stop thinking you're supposed to be a rich, famous millionaire, especially when you were born into poverty. Your parents weren't millionaires. Humble your fucking self. Okay? You're not other people. Your parents weren't them. And that's okay. Destiny swapping starts with you wanting to be something you're not. And then, so I wanted to mention this dream I had for anyone still watching, and just a quick message, because I woke up ready to do this upload. I woke up out of my sleep ready to do this upload, and I was dreaming all night. And I still woke up energetic to do this upload and deliver this message. So the spirits are still speaking through me, the ancestors, I should say. In my dream, a skinny white girl, she was real meek. She had like thin hair. She looked like a recovering heroin addict, and she was with her friend who was blonde, and she was a bit of a tomboy. But she was like, she had like beach blonde, like, really blonde hair, but her hair was kind of crimped, and it was not like necessarily like combed or brushed, but it was kind of like crimped, like not curled. It was a bit wavy in a way where it was like crimped, like she had actually used a crimping iron. And she was blonde and she was tomboyish, the friend that was a heroin addict. Just to make a long story short, at the end of the dream, I went up to the friend, and when she was away from the blonde girl, I went up to the heroin. I'm calling her a heroin addict for lack of a better thing, but I went up to this chick who looked like a recovering heroin addict when she was away from her friend, and I was very quickly trying to get her number and exchange information and keep in touch with her, because I had given her friend my number and information earlier in the dream, but I didn't connect with her. And I was trying to give her my number, and then as the blonde girl started walking more closer toward us, she started getting nervous, and she was like, "Oh, that's okay. I gotta go. It's okay. I gotta go. Don't worry about, she as the blonde girl started getting closer, she didn't want the blonde girl to see that she was making a connection with me on her own. And I knew that the blonde girl was not going to give her friend my information to contact me for spiritual guidance on her own. So when her blonde tomboy friend started walking closer to her, and remember, when I say blonde, that's symbolic of Lucifer, and tomboy, a female act, and this isn't transsexual or anything, but that's symbolic of Lucifer. He deals with blondness and light in that sense, and he deals with transgenderism. But when the blonde girl was walking toward us, her friend got nervous to connect to me on her own, which means she's under control, which means her friend controls her. And she knew that her friend would not approve of her connecting to me on her own without her being present and controlling the situation. And I wanted to, and because that happened at the end of the dream, and I can't remember if I ended up just forcing her to, I think I just forced her to complete her number and put her number in to where I could just call it and save it. I think she could just completed putting her number in, but she ran off. And then we were in a different setting. And I wanted to share that with my followers and my viewers. If you're watching this and you've gotten this far, this is a message for others that happened in my dream. And it's along the lines of this destiny swapping. The decisions that you make in life cause you to put yourself on a certain path. Don't look at destiny swapping as spiritual all the time. When you align yourself with people who you get involved with drugs and it controls you, because again, I say she was a recovering heroin addict, but this this blonde female tomboy served as her master. She served as something that she answered to. And it was very symbolic of Lucifer. Blonde female, tomboyish. But she was controlling this chick who she had thinner hair. Her hair was like it was like a almost grayish dark brown, and it was thin. But like I said, you guys know what a recovering heroin, a white female, skinny recovering heroin addict looking female looks like. You guys kind of know that look, that kind of look. They'll be cute in the face, but they'll be extra skinny, extra bony. Their hair will be thinner. They'll be a bit jittery, and they'll be the kindest people you've ever met in your life. But they look weak. And they'll be strong. They can put up with a lot of abuse, and they probably have a lot of times in their life. They have that battered woman look too. But you can tell when a woman's been abused too, because she has the posture of she's trying to protect herself. She'll always hold that posture. But what I'm saying is, that woman looking like a heroin addict symbolized addiction, and it symbolized her wanting to overcome that addiction or having overcome that addiction, but she still serves this master. And I was trying to get her to make her decision on her own to contact me. And I was trying to get her to not be afraid of she's coming up to you trying to interfere with you becoming more free. I was trying to get her to lose that fear and to say, it's okay. You can take my number. Let's break this curse. Let's break this spell. Let's break you being afraid to make decisions on your own without your friend, without your master coming here interfering with every decision you make, with every time you say, I want to be free on my own. I want to do something on my own. I don't want to answer to this. And when you start getting into drugs, when you start having relationships with people who are no good and mean you no good and do not have your best interests, and all they do is control you for their best interests, and they use you and they isolate you, and this is what drugs do. And an addiction, it can be to a substance that will cause you to ruin your life. And a lot of people who are spiritual, you think the smoking weed and the drinking alcohol excessively and maybe a few other things and the peyote and all this other little spiritual substances you use, that oh, it's okay to use for spirituality, it's not addictive. That can cause you to not really be putting in the work. These are substances that can make you lazy and can make you so spiritual, but when it comes time to take action towards success, you're addicted to a substance. That same thing goes for hanging out with people who don't have your best interests and who keep you stuck dormant answering to them. Every time you go out, you got to answer to smoking to weed. Every time you go out, you got to answer to having a drink. These are the things you have to answer to before you feel comfortable enough going out and socializing and achieving something. You have to do it before you go to work. You have to do it before you go out. You have to do it before you perform or before you meet people, or. So don't underestimate the power of substance abuse being a form of destiny swapping, of substance abuse, of your inability to cut off bad associations and cut off people who are controlling you in the name of your being friends with you, and to start making your own decisions with who you choose to hang out with where you choose to go, what you choose to do that's in your best interest, but furthermore, that's just in your interest. Stop hanging around people who only want to drink and smoke and do violence and do crime and do video games and just do things that will not ever lead to success, and start choosing to be on your own, break away from those crowds, and start, if it will help, going to church. Start your spiritual routine. If it involves meditation, going to the gym, taking more baths, more meditative baths, if listening to binaural beats instead of hip hop music, or and instead of music that has negative energies, you're listening to binaural beats to reprogram your synapses, to give you more peace, to reprogram your cells. These are what I mean by a spiritual routine. I'm not talking about witchcraft. I'm talking about the routine that you do daily that gives you holistic health, which is going to be meditation, cooking, cleaning, creating sacred space. You can create a shrine. You can if you're autistic and you're artistic. And why do the autism and artistic and autistic sound the same? Because it's the same fucking thing. If you're an artist, you have autism. That's what they mean by that, which means you have to do something creative to feel spiritual and accomplished. And that's what making an altar or creating a shrine or creating a work of art or creating a storyboard, creating a collage, these are spiritual things that a person who has the need to creatively express themselves does. The need to creatively express yourself is the definition of autism. And autism is not a real thing. It's one of these new age terms. Um, just like homosexuality, that's a new age term for sodomite. It's a new age term for sodomite. A sodomite is a sodomite. They want to call it homosexual and gay and all these things. Gay used to never have anything to do with your sexuality. You see how these new age terms confuse people, and they are Latin demonic phrases. All of them are come from Latin scientific phrases. So there's no such thing as autism. You either are an artist or you're not. There's no such thing as autism. You either express yourself creatively or you don't. There's no such thing as autism. It's a phrase that they're using to get people who are creative to feel like you are sick and have a problem. You know, they want the world to be gray. They don't want any color. They want everything to be gray. That's why they want interracial dating. They don't want color. They want it all gray. They want everything to be like, what was that movie? Was it Pleasantville or was it that other fucking movie? Like The Giver. If you guys read that book, or they did make a movie of it, but everything was gray and there was no color. So when everything's gray and there's no color, that's a layer of hell. That's why interracial dating is demonic. And I did a whole upload on it, and I'd be feeling bad to have to give these spiritual messages because in real life, I treat people the same, and you want to make people feel comfortable. Um you want to acknowledge people who are trying to be peaceful and trying to unite. You want to unite people who are different. But when it comes to interracial dating, it's demonic. And people don't get wind of how demonic and wrong it is until they bring a baby into this world that's a mutant that these white people don't know how to raise. Then they realize, we're different. Interracial dating people are so retarded. They let their ego blind them so much, and they don't recognize that those differences are not compatible for marriage until, oh God, we had a baby and maybe we shouldn't have did that. Maybe we should have just been friends and enjoyed being taboo, and just maybe we should have just got it out of our system before we brought a baby into this demonic union. Maybe we should have just got our ego and got our demons out of our system before we decided to have a baby, because our ego made me think I loved someone who has nothing in common with me. So, um on that note of what I was saying with my dream, you you alter your own future by the decisions you make. No one destiny swaps with you. A person cannot do that. Only a spirit of the air can take your destiny away by getting you to sell your soul for fame and fortune. And that is the only reason you can sell your soul. The only way you can make that pact is if you have that level of ego and pride in your heart to where you want fame and fortune. You can't go to Satan and approach Satan until you have that in your heart. You have to have it in your heart first that you are better than other people. You have to have it in your heart first that you will not be successful until the whole world knows who you are. You have to have that in your heart. And you have to take that to heart so much that you refuse to live in a world where that is not the reality, that you sell your soul so it happens overnight. Paris Hilton didn't have to sell her soul to be who she is. She was born into it. Who was Paris Hilton's, who worked for Paris Hilton before she became famous? Kim Kardashian worked for Paris Hilton. You want to say they were friends? That's cute. You want to say they were girly, girly, buddy, buddy? That's cute. Kim Kardashian worked for Paris Hilton. Who did the sex tape first, Paris or Kim? I'm waiting. Who did the sex tape first? Paris Hilton was already famous before she did the sex tape. Kim Kardashian was not. Not the way she became. So what am I saying? Even someone like Kim Kardashian had to do more selling of her soul to even achieve the fame and fortune that Paris Hilton had as a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. But Paris Hilton had that fame and fortune because she was the daughter of the people who started the Hilton hotels, did she not? She didn't have to sell anything. Not even her pussy in a sex tape. She already had fame and fortune. She didn't have to sell her soul. Kim Kardashian achieved more than what she had when she did what Paris Hilton did. Do you see how that works? So destiny swapping always comes from the person who envies someone who has more than them, and they are willing to take on their characteristic and do those things to get what they have. So whoever smelt it dealt it. Paris didn't lose anything by Kim Kardashian becoming as famous as she became. Paris Hilton already had it. So this is what I'm saying with destiny swapping. When you already got it, what are you really losing that some other bitch get your hairstyle, get your tattoo, sleeps with your man, whatever, maybe get you know what I'm saying? What are you losing? If your name is still in the book of life, you haven't lost anything. She had to sell her soul to become a like you. You already had eternal life in paradise. You already have that destiny in the afterlife. She sold her soul. She sold her destiny to have what you have on earth. And the spirits of the air are going to try and get you to swap destinies with them. Get you to they're going to try and get you to get your name written in the book of life. Taken out of the book of life and sentence you to hellfire because you don't have fame and fortune here, but you have everlasting life for eternity. You're not hellfire for eternity. Whereas you can do some Kim Kardashian shit and you can start fucking black men. You can make a sex tape. You can join OnlyFans. You can do sex work. You can sell your soul and do all these things that are required when you sell your soul. And now you have fame and fortune. And look what comes. And now she got a baby by one of the sickest niggas on the planet. And look at Kanye West. Would any of y'all want to have a baby by him? By show of hands, how many women would want to have a baby by Kanye West or Jay-Z? By show of hands, how many women would want to have a baby by Tyrese, he got child support issues or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. By show of hands, how many women would want to have a baby by Tyson Beckford or who look good right now? I don't think that dude is handsome, but how many women would want to have had a baby by a dude who played Black Panther who died? How many of y'all would want to have had a baby by a handsome man, by Brad Pitt or someone? How many of y'all, by show of hands, want to have a baby by Kanye West or Jay-Z? How, at least Jay-Z ain't half fucking crazy, but you can look in his eyes and see there ain't nothing fucking behind them. Not a damn thing. You can look in Jay-Z's eyes and see the emptiness in his soul. At least Kanye West, at least he got something behind them eyes, and it's fucking chaotic legions of demons. Because Jay-Z got the David Blaine stare. That nigga ain't even here. That nigga is fully empty. That nigga is a full, complete shell of himself. Okay? Nothing. No soul. Kanye West at least had some soul before he sold his beats showed that the nigga had a little bit of soul before he sold his. And he told you he did. And he been batshit crazy ever since. And got hooked and fell in love with the whore of Babylon. You see how the shit works? Paris Hilton didn't miss no fucking beat. She was born fame, with fortune, and beauty. She was born with the triple threat. She didn't have to sell nothing. But you guys get confused. Kim Kardashian, who was born into a rich family, still achieved way more after aligning with Kim Kardashian, doing what she did. She aligned with Kim Kardashian. She did the same things that Kim Kardashian did. She did everything but dye her hair blonde. She had the sex tape. She got ran through by every famous black man that year who threw a ball for a living, or made music for a living. She got ran through by every famous black man that year, and Kanye West fell in love with her because she was ran through. There are men like that who only love whores. They do not like women who are not slutty. They only like a slut. There's plenty of men in this world who desire the whore of Babylon. That's the type of woman they enjoy. That shows what type of man they are. They Nimrod. So how can I say this? Understand when you have such blessings from God and such gifts from God, that someone's trying to be like you, that they are selling their soul. The person who copycats you, they're selling their soul and they're selling their personality to be like you, because your blessing is so apparent. If you don't sell your soul to try and get it back, if you don't do some stupid shit thinking you need to get your destiny back, if your name is still written in the book of life and you still accept Christ, you haven't lost anything. They now have sold their soul to be like you, and you still get to be you and be the original version. So what if they have more fame, fortune, likes, and subscribers? Your name is written in the book of life, and you're going to have eternity in paradise instead of hellfire. Take that seriously. And if somebody copycats you and then becomes rich and famous from copycatting you, they definitely sold their soul to do it. If it works for them to that capacity to where you think they destiny swap with you, no, they sold their soul. They made a pact with the devil, and you were the template. If that is not the biggest, and I'm not saying take it as flattery, if that is not the biggest affirmation that your name is written in the book of life and theirs isn't, you need to let that be an affirmation that your name is still written in the book of life. And if they are becoming successful from being like you and taking on your personality, but now they're famous and they're a celebrity because of it, and you're still unknown, struggling to get sales, be grateful to God, because your name is still written in the book of life and theirs isn't. Like I said, you have to have the love of money in your heart before you can even approach Satan to offer him your soul. Your soul is not worth anything to him unless you have pride. Until you have the level of pride that makes you believe you must be rich and famous at all cost, Satan cannot purchase your soul. It has no value to him. It has no value to him. You have to approach him with the level of pride to say, I deserve to be rich and famous when I was born into poverty. And that's the only people who are selling their soul. Peasants who believe and in their heart cannot accept life unless they have what sovereigns have. Peasants who cannot accept that their parents were broken, that they have to work their way through life. Peasants who cannot breathe unless they're getting attention from everyone. There are people like that in this world who cannot breathe. They will suffocate and shrivel up and die if somebody doesn't pay them attention. You have to have that level of pride in your heart for Satan to see your soul as anywhere near valuable to purchase. And you have to have that level of pride, and you also have to already have your name written in the book of life. There's people whose name is not written in the book of life. They are of their father, the devil, and then they got sentenced to jail. They molested a child. They raped a woman. They murdered. They went to jail. They sat around and couldn't do nothing but read the Bible, and they got saved. And now their name is written in the book of life. Some of y'all name ain't written in the book of life. You of your father, the devil. You have to really repent. But if your name is already written in the book of life, a person cannot take that away from you. A human being cannot take that away from you. Only Lucifer can manipulate you with his spirits of the air to sell that to him. That's the only destiny swapping. It cannot be done by anyone but your own hands. You are the only human being who can destiny swap with you. No other human can do it. You must sell your own soul to the devil. You must do it spiritually. No one else can destiny swap for you. Your destiny is not something someone can take. Everyone's name is not written in the book of life. And if your name is written in the book of life and you have that blessing, that's the blessing you have. Ain't no fucking stars over your head. If your name is written in the book of life, people are going to want to be like you. And if being like you instead of accepting Christ is how they achieve fame, if they achieve fame and fortune from being like you instead of a relationship with Christ from being like you, then they sold their soul. If someone achieves a relationship with Christ from being like you, then you've done your job. And nobody who receives Christ from being like you is going to copycat you. They're going to be healed by you. And hopefully they're going to appreciate that healing enough to and being healed, you when you want to be like someone, you want to be like someone. Don't get mad if you look so good that somebody wants the same hair stylist, they want the same clothes, they want the same outfit. This is why most designers make several copies of their design for thousands of people to purchase. It's very rare for a designer to only make one copy of their design and only have one copy of it. That's when something should really be expensive. But most designers, they make several different sizes, colors of that one design because they know that if people like it, more than one person's gonna want to buy it. So please, this is what happens when you are when you're a pretty girl with an ugly personality. You get all up in arms when other people want to be like you. And you have to, and the way to not become like that is to learn how to guard and protect yourself in public. So you don't do ugly girl things just because you're a pretty girl with ugly personality. You scared. There's nothing uglier than being scared of someone destiny swapping with you. Humble yourself. Have wisdom to know what comes with beauty, and have wisdom to know what comes with your name, what comes with being blessed and being saved and having your name written in the book of life. Have, stop worrying about what other people are doing and learn to turn someone's admiration into them being your ally, because you're going to need allies in spiritual warfare. So Yemaya and the aspects of Yemaya teaches us to, the part of Yemaya that is the mirror, and the part that Yemaya is both the salt water and the mirror, is that she teaches us to cleanse our own reflections. She teaches us to cleanse our own ego. Cleansing comes from salt water. Nourishment comes from fresh water. So Yemaya gives us cleansing hygiene. She gives us emotional hygiene. She gives us emotional hygiene. She helps us she helps us understand we are all one and the same, and we are all connected. And anytime someone reflects me, that's my sister, not my enemy, not someone I should envy, not someone I should fear of doing better than me. When she reflects me, it's because we are one and the same, and it should not threaten me. When I see other women reflecting me or other women making an effort to reflect me, I should understand that any woman making an effort to be anything like me shows that I have achieved goddesshood. Stop worrying about it and start transforming that into an army of women who will fight for you because they worship you. That's Yemaya's gift. She turns her enemies into allies, and then she has an army of allies that will do her bidding. That's Yemaya. And we have to cleanse our ego with the salt waters of Yemaya. We have to humble ourselves. We have to become more motherly. We have to take on motherhood and start mothering people, mothering these women who want to be like us and who admire us. We need to start appreciating that and turning it into our assets instead of trying to be rich and famous so the world can admire us. You got somebody wanting to be like you and someone you could son out here, that's a blessing. Start mothering your admirers, you know? And I talk a lot about, there's layers to this, but Yemaya really wants people to know about, because Yemaya represents the ultimate divination. She learned Cori cell divination from her husband Arumila. Yemaya was the first woman to deal with the divination, and she represents the ultimate psychic ability. She represents the ultimate divine. She is the diva. She is the divine. She is divination. She is divine. She is diva. Yemaya is that. She is it. Yemaya is divinity. She represents divinity. She learned how to divine with physical things from Arumila using Cori shell. That was not something that women did. Yemaya learned how to that from Arumila. Arumila had the yellow glowing eyes. Arumila was the diviner. Then Yemaya married him and she learned that. But before that, she was Diva. She was the mother of Diva. Yeah, no. So when Yemaya telling you all that tarot ain't it, cleanse your ego. Yemaya is telling you, you don't need the tarot timeline. You don't, the tarot, okay, here, the laws of Ma'at got translated into the tarot deck. The tarot used to be, before it was a tool of divination, the tarots was illustrations of the laws of Ma'at and how you use the laws of Ma'at through the different phases of your life, or how you apply the laws of Ma'at. The laws of Ma'at that's philosophy. That's a certain philosophical thing. And then the tarot got a lot. Then the tarot became a tool of divination. But before, it was just an illustration of the laws of Ma'at. That's why there's certain specific occult mysteries in the tarot. And Ma'at is from ancient Kemet. So that's just the history of divination. Yemaya didn't even use any tool of divination until she learned it from Arumala. It was for the man to do. We know man has authority over woman. Man has a deeper connection to God than the woman. Remember what happened in the Garden of Eden. God made the woman and she got manipulated by Satan and fascinated by Satan. Why did Satan go to Eve instead of Adam? Because Eve was younger and more impressionable. The female is younger than the man. So while a witch who has ancient authority has authority over the human man, the man in the warlock and the wizard has authority. The exalted man, the powerful man, has the ultimate authority, not the woman. The woman, the female does not have authority over the male. So while a witch may have authority over a human man, she does not have authority over the warlock. Nor does the sorceress have authority over the wizard. The feminine does not have authority over the divine masculine. Does it balance it and everything? Yeah, that's cute. But at the end of the day, Satan didn't go to Adam because he knew he would have been defeated by Adam. He knew Adam had enough discipline not to eat the fruit of the tree. That's why he didn't go to Adam, because he knew he would lose if he went to Adam. Spirits of the air, Satan, Lucifer, always goes to the woman. That's why, like I said, it's always only ever young women who are dumb and impressionable thinking somebody's trying to destiny swap with them because they think they're Eve. They think they're the only woman on the earth. They think they're the only woman on the earth who could they think they're the only one. You know, Satan doesn't, that's why men don't complain about destiny swapping, because men have a connection with God and they out here working for theirs. They're out here tilling the garden, getting out there working for theirs. It's only women who let Satan manipulate them into, oh, just eat this apple and you'll have everything you want. Only women think like that. Only women think that they should just be able to do a spell, eat an apple, do one thing, and everything falls into their lap. Only women think like that. And the Garden of Eden is proof that the man has authority over the woman. Because Satan did not go to Adam. He knew he would lose if he went to Adam to convince him to eat that fruit. He didn't even try it with Adam. Why? The man was made in the God's image, not the woman. The woman is made in the man's image. She will never be stronger than him. Never. Women all who want to be stronger than men, they're demon possessed and they do all this demonic stuff to try to get an unnatural power. They will never be stronger than the man. The witch has spiritual authority over the man. Doesn't mean she can't get raped by a human man. Her witchcraft may prevent these things. She may have spiritual protection, but what I'm saying is the female is never stronger than the male. No, that's not how that goes. The female is the weaker vessel. And it's only women. It is only women who use tarot and or homosexual men who practice goddess worship. They are homosexual, they practice goddess worship. If they're gay and effeminate, they practice goddess worship within homosexuality. All that being a bottom and all that flamboyancy and flame, and that's goddess worship. So it's only the homosexual man, the man who worships the goddess, and females using tarot divination, thinking that and trying to use divination to achieve fame and fortune. Do men sell their soul for fame and fortune? Yes, but those men tend to be feminine. This is why all celebrities have some level of homosexuality in them. Because if they weren't born into wealth, they want fame and fortune, that's a feminine thing anyway. A man wants to become a man. He's going to work for his living. So all these men that sell themselves for fame and fortune to get attention all the time, they think like bitches. They think like females. They want attention. They want this. They want that. They want all the things that a female wants without doing work. That's feminine. Wanting to achieve something without working, that's a feminine trait. So men typically don't use tarot and stuff because they are putting in work to achieve their goal. And achieving their goal through putting in work is what makes them feel like a man. They would never feel like a man if they went to a tarot diviner and asked for something. Now, some men come from spiritual cultures, but again, they didn't see their fathers doing that. They saw their mothers doing it. And because they were closer to the mothers, or because they came from a single mother household and they saw their mother doing all this brujeria, they saw their mothers doing all this witchcraft brujeria. Now they think it's normal for a man to do brujeria to achieve some shit. They think it's normal for a man to use brujeria to achieve some shit. That's not how men who have fathers to teach them manhood think. No man who has a father to teach him manhood would think it's okay to go get a tarot divination to accomplish. He gonna get out there and work, bitch. Men don't use spirituality to get by. That's something women do, so they don't have to actually put in the work to do anything. And that's why the spirits of the air will come to women. It's young women worrying about destiny swapping because the spirits of the air can easily manipulate women. Women they want more pride. They want more. They don't want to submit to the man's authority. They want to be Lilith. They want to be Lilith. They want to turn into that, you know. And people say Lilith and Eve were different. No, Eve became Lilith after she ate that apple. She became unsubmissive. And Adam still loved her and fell from grace with her. The moment she ate that apple, she became unsubmissive to Adam. And she became Lilith. And that was not a good thing. People always want to glorify Lilith. Y'all, that was a demon. Lilith looked like a reptilian, and Lilith is a specifically Jewish folklore deity. That's specifically Jewish folklore, Lilith. So you're doing some backward synagogue of Satan flipping the script shit when you glorify Lilith. No, Lilith represents what happened to Eve when she ate that apple, and it's ugly. And it's ugly. And this is why men always want to pit women against one another and everything like that, and unsubmissive women always want to get the humble, beautiful female who is submissive to God's authority. These ugly, unsubmissive creature, beastly women always want to get the beautiful, submissive woman to sacrifice her femininity to be ugly. Don't never listen to no bitch, man hating woman trying to get you to hate men and this, that, and not be submissive. You thought Lilith came before Eve. Everyone does. But no, Lilith is what happened to Eve when she when she got the knowledge. And it was not pretty. They're all these manipulation shit. I'm teaching you the real sacred femininity. The way this has been an epidemic lately, the Void Studio says. Can you explain what I said that you're referring to? Because I was talking a lot until I saw your comment. If you're still here, the Void Studio, what are you saying that I mentioned that has been an epidemic lately? Yeah, destiny swapping and the fear. I've seen that. I noticed it looking and scrolling and how much it's coming up lately, particularly like among black women, black and brown women. And I think it's because black and brown women tend to have histories and cultures of doing spirituality and stuff, and a lot of black and brown women have gotten into spirituality, and they're the ones who are causing their own destiny swapping. A lot of white girls, they're not necessarily, I'm not saying white women are not taught or not raised to be witches or don't come from spiritual households, but most white people in America, they're Christian or Catholic, and they have money and are conservative because of that. It's liberals who get into spirituality and don't want to worship God. It's liberal, but so it's typical for black and brown women who have done so much, and I'm glad that a lot of black and brown women have gotten back into their own spirituality, but black and brown women are the ones who typically get into spirituality and stuff, culture wise, and who are trying to find their identity as black and brown women through spirituality. Black and brown women always want to find their identity through spirituality. Why is this not working? Oh boy. Let me get my phone on the charger. Here, give me 1 second. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. Um, so practitioners making so much money off of the teaching courses on it and how to avoid it, etc. That's what I'm saying. Black and brown women are always looking for an identity through spirituality, because being a spiritual black woman is the quickest way that they can get respect for being as a woman of color. It's the quickest way that they can be respected as a woman of color, and a lot of them, they're not achieving real femininity. So that's why I say it is prevalent around among a lot of black and brown women, but it's because so many white women are around black and brown women, and want to date black men. They take on, white women have their own culture. They have their Gaelic, they have their Druid. White women, when they're spiritual, they know their spiritual history, they know their spiritual culture. But nonetheless, you guys get it. This is universal when I'm talking about the tarot divination and stuff. But the destiny swapping and the fear of it, yeah, it's huge. And like I said, you're always going to see it with some black, brown female in her 20s or 30s. It's always some young black, brown female who is experiencing how hard life is being black, coming from poverty, being born black, being born brown, being born into poverty. They're always getting the brunt of it. Because why? Because black men don't help with nothing. They can't get a husband. So they're looking to spirituality. They want to be famous. They want this. They want that. They want everything to go their way. They see how easier it is for white women who are underqualified and overpaid. They're frustrated. Black and brown women are extremely frustrated. It's only ever some pretty beautiful white girl who experiences oppression or experiences some levels of these things because she's beautiful. She's a beautiful white woman and people treat her a certain way because she has the gift of beauty. White women who look good can relate, but most black it's black and brown women who experience oppression, who are always looking to spirituality to alleviate how hard it is being a black woman. And these spirits of the air convince them, and they don't they black, it's hard for black and brown women to accept Christ, because accepting Christ never helps us achieve anything. White people can accept Christ and shit start going good for them. We still get to be cursed, you know so black and brown women are worried about destiny swapping because they're the ones who are putting in work and nothing happens. And then they see one of their friends who does spiritual or does the same thing, and they go further. I'm letting you black and brown women, or some of you pretty white women who have issues achieving your goals, you think you're supposed to be somewhere because you're pretty, because you're this, because you're that, because you're spiritual. It's not working for you. Well, I'm gonna let you know right now, the reason you haven't accomplished what you want is because you did not sell your soul. And that girl who copycatted you, but she went further with you, she sold her soul. It wasn't copycatting you that got it. It was selling her soul. So copycatting worked. The only reason her copycatting worked was because she sold her soul. She wanted to be like you, but she still had to sell her soul for it to work. If you go to work and dye your hair bright blue, and one of your coworkers comes to work with the exact same bright blue hairstyle, everyone's going to look at her as weird. If you go to work, you dye your hair bright blue, everyone's going to say, "Wow, that's so cool. Look at your hair. That's really cool. Wow, that they're going to say something about it." And if the next day this other weird girl who's always around you, who's already weird anyway, and so if she's a copycat, she's all people already look at her as weird. She's already doing weird behavior too. There's always red flags. If some chick comes with the exact same hair color, hairstyle, dyed her hair blue too, do you think everyone at work is gonna then, "Oh wow, that looks so cool," or are they gonna be like, Chastity just did that yesterday. Why are you doing? They may say something, but they're gonna look at her and be like, "She's crazy. What type of person goes out and copycats someone else's style as if it's okay?" That's what everyone's gonna think. They're not going to be like, "Oh wow, look at your hair. It looks so much better than what Chastity did. Here, let me give you a job. Here, let me sign you to my record label." That's not what happens. If someone does some weird shit, everyone looks at them as being weird. So if you are so concerned as a black and brown or a pretty spiritual white girl that someone is taking your destiny because they're copycatting or doing something similar or whatever, if it's working for them, it's because they sold their soul. Because that shit doesn't work in real life. It makes people look weird, and it makes other people afraid to be around them because they act fucking weird. So the only reason you're so afraid of everybody is because the spirits have isolated you into your own ego, and you're the only person you fucking know. Because you do so much spiritual tarot reading shit, and you hang around with so many spirits of the air that you've done forgot how to get socialized with people. You're afraid of people. People can get so spiritual that they're afraid of people because they think that they're the shit. And it's all some black and brown woman or some pretty white girl who's young talking about someone destiny swapping with you. It's never a woman over 50. Women over 50 have gained the wisdom to, and why isn't it women over 50? Because by the time women hit 50, shit starts going good for them because they've stayed true. And as long as a woman has kept up with her beauty and kept up with her physical health and has not let some man ruin that by the time she's 50, things will start to happen good for her. That's why women over 50 don't complain about destiny swapping. As long as they stayed healthy and beautiful, they will start to see the fruits of all of their labor, and they will start to see all of the heartbreak and struggles and broken friendships and weird shit that they overcame in their life up to 50. They're going to start to see the fruits of overcoming trauma. They're going to hit 50 and things are going to go good. They're going to have real, genuine relationships with people who actually, they're going to have had made so many mistakes and have learned and made such better decisions. By the time they're 50, their life is great. That's why women over 50 don't worry about someone destiny swapping with them, because they did the work to be beautiful at 50, and then then things start to come through for you. It's only 20-year-old women who think they're cuter than they actually are, worried about someone destiny swapping, and whoever smelt it dealt it. Jesus is Lord. TWTW. Amen. This is true amongst the women teaching this stuff, Void says. This is true amongst the women teaching this stuff too. They don't have anything to show for it. They're not going to. The only reason a woman became a tarot card diviner is because she picked up the deck and she kept reading the cards because they were so ambiguous to her that she done ran through the whole deck trying to pick out the right card. And now she's an expert at it. And now instead of going on her path, she's like, well, let me make money off of doing tarot diviners. And now she is working for the same devil. She picked up the deck. It didn't work for her, but she's like, well, at least I can become a tarot card reader behind it. And that's what she does. I explained how that happens in my last upload, the destiny swapping that I did last night. If you didn't see the one last night, in the second hour and third hour, I start to explain, I explain what destiny swapping is not, and then I explain the spiritual roots of it, and then I explain how once you open tarot cards, the three paths that happen to you once you open the tarot, and how they all are trying to get you to sell your soul. because nothing, they will never have anything to show for it. The moment you use tarot divination, the spirits of the air are going to make sure nothing happens for you until you are so desperate for it to happen overnight before a certain age that you sell your soul. That's why women over 50 don't talk about destiny swapping, because they have gotten to the age to recognize all they need. It took work and wisdom all along. What happens with the tarot is it promises you and it never happens. And instead of putting in the work and accepting Christ and going on a different path than what is not happening for you, you decide, well, it has to happen by a certain time, so I'm going to sell my soul, because only young people do that. They are wanting it to happen overnight. No one, people over 50 don't talk about someone destiny swapping with them because their life didn't got good, or they have enough wisdom to be humble, and they have enough wisdom to know that if they had just made better decisions, they wouldn't be in their position. They're not still stupid and demon possessed. They've outgrown the demon possession that happens in your 20s when you look good and you think that everything should fall in your lap without you having to work for it. And the only people who think everything should fall in your lap without you having to work for it are black people, brown people, or white people who was raised around them. Rich white people know that it takes work to maintain that legacy, and they teach their children the work it takes to maintain wealth. Everyone else wasn't born into that and needs to stop trying to achieve it. You want to achieve financial stability? Fine. But stop being black trying to achieve some weird shit. You know? I literally felt that happen, but luckily I didn't fall for it, but many friends have fallen. I felt the urgency and the desperation. That's what the spirits of the air do. Only reason you picking up a tarot deck or getting divination is because something didn't go right in your life, and you just can't accept that it didn't go right, and you need answers from something other than the motherfucker who told you no. You need another answer. You need to figure it out. It's not going right. And everyone told you all your life, you're destined to be famous. You're destined to be so great, because every adult that never became rich or famous told you you're going to, because you look good. And it didn't happen. And now you can't accept it. You have no wisdom. You're desperate for fame and fortune to happen at a certain age, and it hasn't happened. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna sell my soul. Because you know subconsciously, when these artists talk about doing it, they're doing the same thing tarot diviners do. They're promoting you going on the same path. People become tarot diviners because their life is stuck in the 52 card cycle. 52 weeks in a year. The moment you do tarot, and I can't stress this enough, your life gets stuck on a 1 year cycle, and you experience what happens in the tarot cards. You don't experience your life. You experience what happens in the tarot card. You experience every tarot card, and you go through those experiences over and over again. So you may get the you may experience the 10 of Pentacles. But right after that, you become the fool again. Right after that, you become the fool again, and you lose it all again. And then you have to go through being the Empress and the High Priestess and the Sun and the Three of Swords and the Four of Swords and the Five of you. Then you got to go through all that shit again. It never sustains. And when you get a little something, when you get a little ten of Pentacles, and then you lose it again, and you go 2 steps backward again, and you become foolish again, and you wonder why you are still back being foolish again, and you go back to the tarot looking for answers again, you stay stuck in that tarot cycle, and you never actually accomplish your real life goal in real time because you fucked around with the tarot cards. And you should need to put them down, burn those decks, get rid of them, repent, and get to work. And surround yourself around people who have the same goal as you, so you have some partners keeping you on motherfucking task. The desperation and the urgency to become rich and famous when you were born poor is the only reason anyone sells their soul. That's why it's a lot of black and brown women, there's no men for them. There's no men left for them. The white women get all the men. That, that's why it's always black and brown women in their 20s worrying about somebody destiny swapping with them when they were the ones who picked up the tarot card to begin with. They were the ones who wanted to be like Paris Hilton. They were the ones who were born into poor parents, black parents, but they wanted to be born into rich, famous parents like Paris Hilton was. It's always black and brown women who want a destiny swap with a white girl. Now, there I said it. It's always black and brown women who want to destiny swap with white women, and they are the only ones picking up these tarot cards trying to figure out how to do it. And they're the only ones worrying about the next bitch going a little further than she did with the same motherfucking hairstyle. Y'all be weird as fuck, and you don't even know spirituality enough. They come and they infest your life, and the name, and you think you're a priestess, and your life be in shambles, and your emotions be all over the fucking place, and your mind be screwed. You be having mental disorders. And then you do stupid things with your body, even if you look good. You start to do stupid things like drugs or sleep with the wrong man or sleep with someone else's man because you're spiritual. That's always what happens to these black and brown women when they become spiritual. They become whores. They become attention desperate whores. And that shows the what type of spirit they're worshiping. The spirits, they come from tarot diviners. They not worshiping the African ancestors. Because Yemaya would have told you to look in the mirror and humble yourself and cleanse out your jealousy of white women who have it all, and start to get with your African roots. Accept that you are in a state of oppression, and accept the joy that comes with being a black woman, having your name written in the book of life. Because when you were born black and oppressed, you didn't have to do anything to have your name written in the book of life. So now get to work now, because your name's written in the book of life, and you didn't have to do anything like half of these white people have to actively repent to get their name written in the book of life, because they're of their father, the devil. They're Gentiles. They're of a foreign nation. They are not Hebrew Israelite. We didn't have to do nothing to get our name written in the book of life. The only thing we can do to be in hell is to reject our Savior. Whereas white people, they have to spend their whole life in repentance, treating black people good without fucking us. And they're going to want to fuck us, but they can't just help us without keeping their hands off of us because we look so good. The biggest challenge for a white person is to help black people without having sex with them. And most white people can't do it. And God will punish them for touching us that way. They can't help us and repent without having sex with us. No white person is in repentance when they're fetishizing you sexually, when they need to go with someone of their own race. You get what I'm saying? So this is the other part to, it's always some black and brown woman wishing she had what a white girl had. Going to the tarot, trying to get identity, trying to figure out how to have what white women have, because they don't want to accept their African roots, accept that they are born in a state of oppression, and accept that what comes with that oppression is free everlasting life. Whereas these white people have to repent, they have to get locked up, they have to go through all these things before they accept Christ and before they repent for their position, and then they get their name written in the book. Everybody ain't of Abraham's bosom. Motherfuckers be of their father, the devil. And yes, the average white person, look at how they deal with black people. They can't keep their fucking hands off of us. They can't stay away from us. And if they want to help, that's the best thing that they can do. They are a parasite. They weaken everything that they touch, and we strengthen everything we touch. And if they really wanted to help us, they would quarantine themselves from us, but they refuse to. They only care about us making them better. They don't care about us. They only care about what they can take from us. The realest white person wants segregation because they know that they're a parasite to us. They see what colonialism does, and they know that black people are safer the farther we are away from them. We can unite, we can have fun, we can get together and everything. But at the end of the day, black people do better when we're on our own, and white people do better when they're with us. And if they really cared, they would learn how to do better on their own. And the realest white people are the racist ones who want white people to segregate and prove that they can be on their own without taking from black people all the fucking time. White people want to show and prove that they are superior by getting away from black people and accomplishing shit without us building it first. So the realest person you gonna get is a white Trump supporter racist who don't want black people and white people mixing because it's not good for either one of us. White people stay weak as long as they're around black people manipulating us to do everything for them, yet they get to be superior. And white people are weak when they're around black people because we do everything for them. And black people are weak when we're around white people because we're more concerned with what they do, think, and feel than growing our own motherfucking food. Segregation is the only way to end racism. And racist Trump supporters are the only ones who know it. They're the only ones who actually care about black people because what's in our best interest is to get away from white people and learn how to be black. They want to get away from us and learn how to be white. They're sick of seeing white people acting like they're black and using blacks and sleeping with black people to get by. They're holding white people accountable because all white people do is have sex with black people to get by. That's all they do. Underpay us to get by. Get in our face like a bunch of liberals so they can get by in their state of poverty. Rich white people don't need nothing from no nigga. It's only poor white people in black people's face trying to get us to help them get by. Always. Without fucking fail. There ain't no rich crackers need niggas for nothing. Only poor white people need us to help them keep their state of middle class superiority. You know? So, but my dream, like I said, my dream that I was explaining with the two white girls and the one who was like looking like a recovering heroin addict, she was trying to come, I came to her and she wanted to give her number. She wanted to contact me on her own. She wanted to develop her relationship with me on her own. But her controlling, blonde, manly, white, and like I said, that can represent Lucifer, but it can also represent some of that kind of a Nazi energy where you're controlling this white girl from getting black spiritual guidance about how to be the best version of a white girl you can be. She wants these white women to be manipulated to go sleep with black men. She doesn't want spiritual guidance from a divine source to tell her what's the best version of a white woman I can be. Because so many white women, they're trying to be black women. And they will never be the best version of themselves because they're trying to be something they're not. And you will know it because she will be walking around with a black man. And every white woman that's seen in public with a black man, doesn't mean they're dating. They could be co-workers. They could just have came from church together. They could just be hanging out, So black people and white people alike, just because you see a black person and a white person in public, doesn't mean they're a couple. Don't be afraid to approach someone. If they're a couple, you'll find out through talking to them. But if you're a black man and you see a fine black woman and she's with a white guy or she's hanging out with white people, why are you afraid to approach her? Don't assume that someone's just with, and that's what happens when you're beautiful. Whoever you're with, they're gonna assume you're with that person. They're gonna hold whoever you're in public with accountable for you, for protecting you. That's why if you're alone and you have confidence and you're beautiful, you people, you'll get, I don't know how to say it. Sometimes people feel more comfortable approaching you when you're with someone uglier than you. So then they can talk to that person to try and get, then they can be around you, but they can use the person, they can use that other person to be in your vicinity without confronting your beauty. But without getting off on a tangent, as I always do, a lot of white women are taught that the best white woman they can be is getting a black man. And that's just not the case. It's gonna put a stain on you. It's gonna put a stain on you, and it's gonna put a strain on you. And I talked about that in my upload about white people being too stupid to be racist. So I don't want this to go on too long. I think I've said everything that I need to say. But again, don't destroy your own future by making decisions that get you addicted to things to where you can't spend all of your energy accomplishing your goals. So by the time you're 50, you see the fruits of your labor. Um, Destiny swapping, that's not something someone can do to you. That's something that you do to yourself by not staying on task, by being too jealous, by being overly concerned with people who admire you instead of letting their admiration speak to who you are and taking responsibility for who you are and recognizing you have a lot of power for anyone to copycat anything about you. Learn, take responsibility for that. Understand you can only destiny swap when you sell your soul to Satan. You have swapped your name being written in the book of life to spend eternity with God, to spend eternity with Satan. When you want fame and fortune and you have the pride where on this in this realm in this lifetime now you must be famous and have fortune, the only time you can swap destinies is when you go to Satan, you sell your soul for fame and fortune that is temporary in this life, and you swap spending eternity with God to spend eternity with Satan. That's the only way you can swap destinies. And this is a popular topic among black and brown women because like I've said, they need to go back and watch all my uploads when I told you there's no black men. And if they were in communities where there were several black men eligible to marry them, they wouldn't be trying to figure out how to be like a white girl. They wouldn't be trying to figure out how to get all the things and let things be handed to them when they see all their white female friends. They get married to these black men. They already have money. That they get black men who have the money. And these black and brown girls who have darker skin are left with nothing. Because all the white girls take all the men in their 20s. And they all end up divorced by the time they're in their 40s and 50s. All these interracial couples end up divorced, and the black woman is still single by the time she's 50. After all these white women done ran through all these black men and ran through their money, then the black man, when he can't get it up and is broke, then he wants to come to black women. That's what happens when you're a black woman. And that's why black women are desperate to swap destinies with these white girls. Let them have black men. Let you have eternity with God. She wants a black man now. She doesn't want eternity with God for the rest of her life. She wants to sleep with your man now. Let her. She's swapping destinies with you. These white girls are swapping destinies with the black woman the moment she decides to sleep with a black man instead of a man that looks like her. She's swapping destinies with you. She wants to live with a black man, and now she gets to experience what it's like being with a black man. But at least, black woman, if you end up single because your skin is dark and black men don't know what to do with that, and they don't have enough money to marry you, and at least your eternity is going to be with God. At least your eternity, you're not going to have to experience this loneliness. You're going to be in a place like Africa. Your name's written in the book of life. But she wants to swap destinies with you to be with a black man. Don't be trying to swap destinies with the white girl to have the fame, the fortune, the riches. Like Paris Hilton, don't have to work for nothing. Everything's handed to you. Can sleep with all these black men without consequence. Don't don't be trying to swap destinies with these white women who get first pick at our eligible men. Be a black woman. Elevate your race. If you sisters, you know, I tell you a lot to put yourself in white societies when you really come from poverty, but a lot of you don't come from the projects. A lot of you don't come from extreme poverty like I did. Sisters, start supporting black owned business and you'll see how many black businesses there are. And then you'll start to go to the events that are for these black businesses, and you're gonna meet so many black people, single, married, young, old, with kids, without kids. Some got money, some travel, some just staying right where the fuck they be at. There's no reason for a black person to go out of the black community to purchase anything that they need. There's too many black businesses worldwide now that are flourishing. It's too much of it. So black women, don't get into tarot, don't get into spirituality. Keep it to yourself if you do it. Don't get into it. Don't talk to other black women about spirituality. All these black women trying to get into spirituality, they're ugly. They can't get no man. They can't accomplish things. They're not influential. They're not influential women. And they want a spirit to help them be influential. Nobody wants to be like them. Nobody wants to be like them. So if you're a woman who someone wants to be like, and all these women are coming around you and are talking about all these black, brown women talking about spirituality and shit, just tell them to accept Christ. Tell them to accept the oppression and tell them to spend a lot of their time elevating other black and brown women. That's going to enrich your life so much. And don't get into the spiritual black and brown women. That's going to keep you broke, poor, ain't going to be no man, and everyone going to end up fucking the same nigga with locks. Stay away from the spiritual sisterhood community bullshit. Go around black women who are business owners. Black women who are business owners don't have time for spiritual bullshit because they're doing business. And you know what doesn't happen when you're doing business? Spiritual bullshit. People are talking about money. People are talking about marketing. People are talking about producing. People are talking about importing and exporting and sales. Nobody has time to talk about some spiritual bullshit from some traumatic slave descendants. You want to hang around black people and be successful, get with black business owners who are about their black owned business, and every day of their life they are doing their black owned business. Stop being around these spiritual sisters in these womb circles. There's a bunch of sluts and whores, can't get a man, been through a bunch of men, will fuck your man in the name of we have sisterhood. Stop being around these disgusting, slutty, spiritual black women, because all they're gonna do is twerk at their moon circles and call it goddess energy. They are all sluts. And none of them look good enough to really get no money from no men after sleeping with them. None of them look good enough. They're all smelly coochie, Erykah Badu sluts. They all slutty. And they all think that they're divine feminine because they pop their pussy. And none of them is getting money from none of these niggas for doing it. You better off getting on the pole at a strip club, because at least then you are required to be fit, to have a work ethic. These slutty spiritual women, they're fat, they're ugly. A lot of them don't really eat healthy. They act like they do because they eat some carrots and hummus in front of you, but they don't eat like that on their own when they're not putting on this spiritual act in front of each other. That's why they're fat. So you better off actually getting into a strip club, or and really making money for popping your pussy, or just only hang around black business owners. There's no exception. I don't care if they're Christian. I don't care if they do voodoo. I don't care if they this, did that. If they are not, if that event is not about black business owners, don't get involved in it. There's no black spiritual events that are doing anything to help black people. It is all a bunch of slutty women who have been ran through by the same fucking men. They have babies by the same men half the time, and they want to do some slutty stuff because none of them look good enough to actually get on the pole. None of them look good enough. None of these spiritual black women look good enough to get on the pole and get some money. So they pop their pussies in these moon circles, and them pussies been popped by the same 3 niggas in the community. They all popped out a baby. None of them could get on the pole and get some money, and none of them is getting paid by no nigga for having sex with him. Stay away from that shit. You better only spend time with black people who own business. If that black person does not own a business and is not spending at least half their time helping that business succeed, they're worthless as a nigga. They have nothing to offer you. I promise you. Even black people in church, they don't have nothing to offer you half of the time. Go talk to the pastors, talk to the people in the choir. The only reason a black person needs to be in church, if you're young, if you're under the age of 50, is to perform. If you're not there performing, or if you're not already a couple that's there helping with church and helping the church stuff, go around black business owners. Stay away from black people doing spiritual shit. They gonna keep you stagnant. They're gonna keep you broke. And most of them have no power. Most of them have no power, no supernatural, metaphysical no energies and powers that would make you think that they are actually dealing with the spirits. They all only deal with other fat, ugly humans who don't look good enough to pop their pussy on at a strip club. So they do it in the name of spirituality because their bodies ain't tight enough to get on the pole. You know, it's be sickening a lot of times. And I used to experience that shit going around in Chicago, all these spiritual stuff. And I'm like these women don't look good enough to teach spirituality to another black oppressed woman. They don't look they are a baby mama can't teach a black woman how to not be oppressed. You every fucking stereotype about black women, but because you got on a white garb and with some beads, you're spiritual? When you fit every fucking stereotype about black women that ever existed? You're baby mama, you single, you got kids by the same guy as this other woman in the community. You're obese. Every stereotype that is about black woman, a spiritual woman fits, and you're supposed to look to her to elevate your womanhood. And black women do it. They let these obese, ugly, ran through, unmarried sisters who are single mothers who are obese sit there and teach them and touch them and do Reiki on them and teach them shit. How stupid can you be to let a woman who looks like a hippopotamus and somebody still fucked her? And you know, how can you let that woman teach you something when you can go right now to a strip club, get a job, get on the pole, and get your tuition paid? She can't do that. And you know what? None of the ancestors she claims she works with have done it for her. So why the fuck would you listen? And I used to boggle me going around all these spiritual people, and all these women were fat and ugly. Or maybe they were fat and beautiful. But if they were fat and beautiful, they were baby mamas. So they were stupid. I'm like, none of y'all, I'm like, and I got to a point where I'm like, y'all, they were too afraid to learn from me because I set a standard. They didn't want to come to me because I already looked better than them. They knew that they didn't want to learn from me because I set a standard higher than they would ever achieve. So stay away from spiritual black women. Because if they look good, they're stupid. They're going to be around a bunch of fat black baby mamas who want to be spiritual when they've been ran through. So if a spiritual woman looks good and she's around black people, it's because she's too stupid to get on the motherfucking pole or to be around business owners and let men and women who can afford your time pay you for it. Spiritual black people, all they gonna do is co-sign each other's bullshit. The best thing you can learn from spiritual black people is if you go and they are teaching you how to make a drum, how to play a drum, how to play an instrument for the ancestors or something. If you can learn some real lessons, but they're not gonna they don't know anything about the spirits. They don't know nothing about the ancestors or how to work with them. Look at them. If you look at that woman and you don't want to look like her, why would you learn from her? Most spiritual black women are Miss Cleo. Why would you go to Miss Cleo when she looked like Nina Simone and you look like Naomi Campbell? The fuck are we doing? The fuck is going on? That's how stupid black and brown women be. You know, it's genetic. It's genetic. You know, so black and brown women are the number one women trying to destiny swap with the white girl. The white girl, when when she wants to destiny swap with black women, any white woman walking around with a black man, she wants to destiny swap with the black woman. All these black and brown women trying to destiny swap with white girls because they want to be rich and famous in their 20s. You know, because they look good. Stop, y'all. Stop playing with yourselves. Stop playing with the opposite race of you. Stop trying to be like the opposite race of you. And that's why my dream, this white girl was coming. You white girls, come into the room. Come into the conversation. Because now I got to talk. That last upload I did about white people being too stupid to be racist, the ancestors and Oya has let me know I have to start talking to my white female followers too. I have to start talking to y'all because you guys are listening to me. And even if you're not letting me know, you are listening to me, and I have to start addressing you guys and as sisters of in the body of Christ. And I need to start talking to you about how to express your white femininity as somebody who has been called white girl all of my life. Okay? I talk to you white girls. Stop trying to be like black women. Stop trying to take on our curse. Be a good white woman. Be the best white woman you can be. Your other white people and other people ain't telling you white girls the mistakes that you make getting involved in black people's bullshit and tainting yourselves and sleeping with black men and having babies by black men and you ruining your life. You ruin your life trying to be a black woman. So let's stop this. Let's, you guys, destiny swapping is talked about so much because it's a bunch of stupid black women listening to other stupid black women and don't nobody know a goddamn thing about spirituality because they haven't been doing it long enough. That's why I said destiny swapping is only talked about by black and brown women in their 20s, maybe in their 30s. But these girls haven't been doing spirituality enough to know spiritual warfare. They are the problem. They haven't been working with Yemaya enough, which means they have not been learning about black femininity enough. They only know what white girls have. They have not been connecting to their African roots in an effective way. Just because you know about Oya and Oshun and Yemaya doesn't mean you've been utilizing their mysteries to make you a better woman. So stop telling everyone you are a priestess of this and that and start showing in your womanhood why someone will want to follow your lead. You don't have to announce that you're spiritual. Be the woman that other women follow. That's why nobody goes to these spiritual events with these black people because the women are hideous. The women are obese. Their women are not sexy. And all the men are already married. All the men already have babies, so no one wants to be around them. So that's why nothing spiritual in Chicago pops off because all the females who are leading these events are unattractive. There was an event the other day. Like I saw an event for like Women's Month and it was about black women's beauty and talking about the elevating the beauty of the black woman, and the flyer didn't have not one single black model. The women on the flyers were not beautiful. So in Chicago, they hate you promoting black beauty because the women have not achieved beauty. I mean, some have, but a lot of black women are not. They don't have Oshun and Yemaya. They got Oya. They're angry. They're angry. They're ready to fight, and they want to compete, and they want to uh they want to have what white women have. They want white privilege. They want white privilege, and they want to sprinkle, and they want to get white privilege by hypergamy and by sprinkle movement and by getting men to do this for them and do that for them and do this for them and do that for them. When the best way to get a good man is to do for yourself and show him you ain't after his money. You want to get a man with money, show him you're not after it. But that's not what sprinkle will tell you. You know? You know? Um, you know, black women, stay away from tarot divination, stay away from all the spiritual stuff. Um, it, it, our heritage, our heritage and our practices and everything, all that's great. But if the most spiritual you can be in a group is dancing, doing music, loving each other. You don't need to be doing voodoo rituals to gather together at a festival, eat good food, feed each other, drink with each other, worship with each other through song and dance. That's all the spirituality you need. You don't have to be part of this voodoo community. You don't have to always do voodoo. You don't have to always do all this stuff. Just get out in public, have festivals. have festivities where people are singing, dancing, eating, and drinking together, and preferably where it's child friendly so the children can grow up in that environment. And so the adults don't separate themselves so much from family and from children and from the importance of having children in your community, because we're getting away from that. No one wants to get married anymore. And black women, I can understand it, because you know, a lot of black men can't afford it, and a lot of black men use us to get by. But you know, white women, they complain that there's no men because they can't get a black one. All white women want is a black man to validate them. And when don't no black man want them, then they complain, you know, they complain about being single and stuff, you know. But I have a lot more respect for a white woman who is single than a white woman who's dating a black man. But I'm not to judge, you know. I don't, you know, it's of no consequence to me. But if it's in my face and someone asks me about it, I don't have respect for white women who date black men. I know he is a black man. He wants to make his life easier by hiding behind her. And because of slavery, I don't know how hard it is to be a castrated black man. I'm the black woman with dark skin who's oppressed. I can't speak to what it's like to be the black man suffering that. More black men don't want to speak about it because they're embarrassed and they're ashamed. But when I see a black man with a white woman, I see a castrated slave, a man who could not get by, a man who was too weak to defend a black woman. When I see a black man with a white woman, I automatically assume he is homosexual. I automatically assume he is a in the closet homosexual, because the number one reason black men date white women is because they can't get away with hiding their sexuality from a black woman. A white woman will be so flattered that he's black that she will completely ignore or be oblivious to the fact that he is also homosexual. That most black women will are not that naive. Most black women are not so flattered that a black man wants her that she ignores his sexuality. White women will. So anytime I see a black man who is dating or married to a white woman, I automatically assume he is undercover gay, because that's the number one reason black men do it in this day and age. Before, it was because they were slaves. It was because of slavery. It was because that was his master and she was parading him around, and he, as long as he had sex with her, he didn't have to work for a living. As long as he worked for her and had sex for her and was her sex slave, he didn't have to work for a living. Before, it was, that's why men did it. Now they're doing it to hide their homosexuality. When I see a white woman with a black man, I see a woman with a mental disorder. You know, if she's fine and he's fine, I can't be mad at her. But when you don't see a fine black man and a fine white woman to you know, if he's a fine black man and she's a fine white woman, something's wrong with him. If he likes fine women, why are you with a white one? With not just out partying with the best looking women. I'm talking about you married that woman instead of marrying a black woman who was as fine as her. You know, so at the end of the day, it's of no consequence to me. But when it's talked about, I can't respect interracial couples. When I see white men with black women, I get it, and that's probably because I'm closer to that experience. Um, and I understand as a woman, but for black men and white women, there's no hypergamy there. These are sexual fetishes. No black woman has, and I don't want to say that. A lot of black girls, they grow up fantasizing about these white movie stars because they see these white movie stars. So it's not, they fantasize about white movie stars the way black men fantasize about white female movie stars. They see it growing up. They never see black people on screen unless they're ugly. So they develop sexual fantasies with white people, because the only time they're shown black people who look like them, they're ugly intentionally. So I get it. But I there's no respect there. No one, people only really respect when a white man, and honestly, I can't, we're beyond this. We're beyond, oh, white men are helping up and they're helping with hypergamy and no one wants to date a black woman, so the white men are, these white men are sexual fetishizing black women too. These are all sexual fetishes. These white men want to, people to look at them as black men, so they hang around black women. There's a lot of white men who just naturally get along better with black women because black women are different. And that white man is used to black women. He's used to a certain type of women, and white women cannot provide him that realness that black women give him. But just because of that does not mean you have to sleep and have sex with people who are different than you and have babies and all of that stuff. There are a lot of there's white women who get along more with black people than they do with white people. There are several white people who naturally just get along with black people more than they do with white people. But why are y'all not dating each other? There's several black people who get along with white people and who spend more time with white people and who have understood what it's like being a token black. Why can't you guys hook up with each other? Why are those men always with a white girl? Why is a token black man never actively pursuing the beautiful black women who are left to be devoured by the white men? Black men will always only ever leave the beautiful black woman to be devoured by the white man. He's never going to take the responsibility of taking her when you both are tokens. He's going to let the white girls surround him and devour him. He's weak. There's nothing to respect about a black man walking around with a white woman on a spiritual level. It does not represent unity. It represents ignorance, ego, lack of responsibility, lack of fear of God. It's Samson and Delilah to the fullest. Mm-hmm. And because of it, black women end up with white men. It's always, God's gonna always hold the man accountable first. That's why when a white man's with a black woman, people look at it as, well, this man who is superior, this man who's rich, he's helping out a woman who's oppressed. He's helping out a woman who's oppressed. Nobody looks at a black man with a white woman like he's helping out a woman who's oppressed. They look at you as you are taking away from a woman who's oppressed and you're giving it to a woman who's privileged. That's the only thing people see. When a black man is eligible to marry and he chooses a white woman instead of a black woman. No one congratulates that. The only thing they see is a man who took resources from a woman who's oppressed and gave it to a white woman when he had the number one responsibility for giving it to a woman who looks like him. He chose not to. They only see Samson and Delilah. When they look at a black woman, especially if she has natural hair, dark skin, and maybe I don't want to say like a big ass, but if she has a really African shape and she's not getting by being Naomi Campbell, but she's representing Africa, and she looked like a African woman, and a white guy marries her, people look at it as this woman who's oppressed, who no one else would ever consider for marriage, now has an opportunity to be loved instead of being a single mother. That's what everyone looks at. When they see a black man who has money, who chose a white woman to marry, they say, this man had every responsibility to help these women who are oppressed, who no one wants, who no one marries, who everyone abuses. He had the number one responsibility because he looks like her and because his mother looked like her. He had the number one responsibility to bring black women out of oppression, and he chose to give a white woman more than what she already had instead of helping the women of his race. No one looks at it as any other way. So when they see a white man in turn with a black woman, they say he did what he's doing and taking on and picking up the slack that rich black men refuse to. That's how a white man with a black woman is looked at, picking up the slack. A black man with a white woman is looked at as a traitor, as betrayal, and no one will ever trust him, ever. When a white man has taken on the responsibility of marrying a black woman, people look to him to take on more responsibilities. Are white people going to have respect for him? No. And they shouldn't. He's got a sexual fetish. And he's putting another race first. You know, and if he's poor, he's middle class, you know, the white girls are too busy dating black men to really care, but they know what's up. He's sending the message that white women aren't good enough for him, and they got that message, and half the time that's probably why they go get a black man to send that message right back to the white guy that they wanted, who ended up with the black girl. So they get a black man to send that message back. White people don't respect a white man who's middle class or lower. They're not going to respect him because they looking at him as he's got some issues. You know, he has something to prove, and he does. But a rich white man who has chosen to take a black woman out of oppression and elevate her when no other black man, because all the black men are too busy sleeping with white girls, he's a hero. So this is why I tell you, white women, you got to understand, you're going to have a stigma and a stain on you when you do interracial dating. The black woman is not. She, among her race, may have a stigma and a stain, but it's never going to matter what no niggas say, because if she got a white man, she's got more than they do. She has more resources than they do if she gets a white man. You know, and she can go back into the black community and still get her a black man. You white women cannot go back into your white communities after they know a black man and ran you through and still get a rich white man to take you seriously. So you will forever be looking for black dick. A black woman can get with a white guy. It doesn't work out. She learns about racism firsthand. She can go back into the black community, even with a interracial baby, and still get a black man. You white women, you can't go back into your white community after a black man has tainted your reputation. No one wants to talk about that. Unless some white man want that black man's energy out your pussy. Only white man you're gonna get after everyone knows you done been with a black Sambo nigga who's gonna spread you wide the fuck open and he can't fill in that slot. Only white man you're gonna get is a gay white man who really wants that black man's energy out your puss. Talking to the white ladies. No white man is gonna sleep after no nigga. A black man will sleep with anything. So a black woman can go after interracially dating and go back into the black community and still get a black man to sleep with her and be with her with some kids. The more kids she have, the more likely she is to get a nigga. Men don't like women, independent women who look good without kids. They want you to be the most ran through, low down you can be. So the more kids you got, the more likely you is to get a nigga anyway. All right. White women, you can't go back into white society and act like a good white girl after you done played the nigga. After you done played the bet, after you done played the nigga, the nigga lover. You can't play the nigga lover and then go back into respectable white society and expect to be part of those resources when they know you're gonna bring it back to the niggas. They see black fatigue all over the world, and they see that you sleep with men like that, and you're not gonna get no respect. The way the black woman could go back into the black community and still be accepted, So, you know, you know, and black men, you deal with these white women. You're the way your life goes is gonna be your own curse. So I don't got to say it, because just in itself, having a white woman and dealing with a white woman, it's gonna make your life harder for you. You want it to make your life easier, thinking you're getting away from black people, but it's gonna destroy your soul. You're never gonna be around soul, and your soul is always gonna be thirsty, and you're never gonna be able to get back to the black women. As long as you with her, you're never gonna be able to look at Kanye West. He's going all over Africa, all to these other places, trying to get his soul back from a black woman. And we don't want him. We don't want to help him. We don't want to work with him. He's tainted. you know. White people, you think you getting some soul, but a lot of times you guys get a stain on you socially. You know, we're black people, we can go back in the community, act like nothing ever happened, act like we ain't never been with a white person and be accepted. And that's what a lot of black people do. They have bad relationships with white people. They end up dealing with a lot of racism, and then they go back into the black community and they claim that they've never been with a white person. They say, I've never been with a white girl. I ain't never kissed a white girl. I ain't never slept with a white girl. I'll never be with a white girl. That's what happens when they have the worst experiences. They fuck around, they have sex with these white girls. They learn immediately because she calls him a nigger in bed, and they learn she's fulfilling a fantasy, and he don't date her and marry her and have her baby. They learn immediately, and then they go back into the community and act like they ain't never been with no white person before because they've erased the experience, and they learned and the ancestors led them back right. They don't end up marrying and having a baby. You see interracial couples that get married and have a baby, they're so 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be more of a curse than a blessing. But that's not really what we really want to talk about. I just was talking about destiny swapping, but a lot of this gets into this interracial stuff. Interracial dating is the biggest form of physical destiny swapping, genetic destiny swapping that there is. And I may have to elaborate on that a little bit, but I feel like I've talked about the top of race and destiny swapping in the last 3 uploads. And this one went longer than I wanted it to too. So I will have to leave. But please comment, have your questions ready. I will be going live again this week. Hopefully talking about some more fun topics. All right, peace and love.